kick me from the room because you got an anger management problem too?
I have a particular set of skills. A set of skills that makes me a nightmare for people like you. If you don't apologize, if you
What do you think, you're Batman? You're like the Jewish Batman now? A Jews never played Batman, never.
see, you can't play have fun with people if you don't let them do their bits too. Like, you're doing your bits, and not let someone else do their bits. You're a fucking.
But see, that's what
you're
that.
A bad,
No,
my improvisational comedian. If you
that was a good one, wasn't it?
Other people's jokes, bro. You're a failed comedian, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know. I thought that.
Hey, Rob.
That was
Sorry.
I gotta clip all
I
this.
was like, shit, no, I unfortunately have to go to an appointment. I was like, I don't know, stick on for the humor. I don't know. I think spaces like sometimes get really serious, and I was just like opinion, but
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, also having some humor is kind of like quality of life. I mean, you can have really serious conversations, but it's all kind of opinion, and it's all just kind of. But I mean, there's some kind of humor that I think works out nicely. So
Somebody
Here's
just
a fun
wanted
one.
to do a private with
that was appreciated for it.
somebody named Sabercon.
Here's a fun one. I've been married for 23 years, right?
She's
Just for shits and giggles, I changed all my relationship statuses to single. I'm 51 years old. I changed all my relationship statuses to single, and the algorithms immediately started advertising like fancy cat food to me.
Dick.
Not dick, no, cats. Like,
Wait.
I posted the wrong link, Kristen. That's not the one. There's one of them. She talks about, I got this from my mother. I got this from my father. Talking about genes, as in GENES.
Yeah.
And then she ends it with, I got great genes. My genes are blue.
Oh. What does that mean? Sorry for the being dumb, but
Yeah, she's just playing on the. She's playing on the you know, the whole gene versus gene thing, and yeah, basically a lot of people have come out and said that, you know, it's Nazism, it's promoting white supremacy, blah 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 blah.
It's the whole blue. You said blue jeans.
Right.
Strike the whole blue blood.
oh, okay.
Yeah, blue blood, and yeah.
All right. I mean, watch. Interesting.
So this is John.
There's a history, right? Didn't Beyonce do that? So I don't know the history, but pardon?
Yeah, Beyonce did them with Levi.
Yeah. So there's a history with the back and forth on that.
Oh, do tell, Dawn.
What's that?
Nightmare has a react to Sydney's Gina.
So, I keep getting accused that I am that person point on this app, who I believe is a white guy doing a black. I mean, the PTR is irrelevant. We know that is not the person, and it's most likely a white gay guy doing that voice. I wouldn't even call it a black voice. I don't know. I would just call it a guy doing a woman's impersonation, right? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay, so I have a show open called The Point Show Comedy, where I'm going to do an impersonation of Point. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going deep in the muff into character.
I've definitely accused Point of being you in several rooms. This is my first time seeing you guys in a room together and definitely speaking at the same time.
Well,
I'm leaning away from the fact that
I did have a trans character on here for a while. I can't remember what it was called. Does anybody remember?
I don't. I was one of those that blocked you on site.
Oh my God, did you really?
I told Roger out of the 299 people I have blocked, John was 297 of them.
I mean, oh, it's terrible. How dare
You wanna know why I started blocking him though? He really ticked me off. He came into a Monica, Serendipity, and Anne room, and when we realized it was him on his Edmund account, he got booted. And I don't even know who booted him at that point because I really wasn't on the boot Edmund on site bandwagon. But then he came back in with another one of his accounts, pretending to be a black boy. And it's my 3 favorite white women. And so then he carried on a conversation with us for like 15 minutes before somebody else came in and said, "Y'all know you're talking to Edmund, right?"
No way.
I was so
Black
mad at
boy.
it. I was like, "Oh, screw him."
Wait, you're claiming I played a black boy?
You did. You totally did.
I'd have to hear that recording.
That's why I started blocking you.
See, I think people may project a lot of other people onto me and not even know they're doing it.
No, it was definitely you. Because when you got called out on it, you lost your character voice.
Well, I'd have to hear that recording because it's not often that I. Oh, well, maybe I have. I guess I have. But, I'd have to hear it because to claim.
Oh, it's my 3 favorite white ladies. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'd have to hear the supposed
yeah.
recording.
John
Yeah, I mean,
people, huh?
well, Monica is known as our favorite Canadian who wants to make America great again.
So, Necro, have you ever bought one article of clothing from American Eagle stores?
Yeah, I just bought some, although they were not blue jeans.
What did you buy?
I bought skinny jeans.
Wow, you bought skinny jeans.
That tracks.
The thing is I need to buy skinny jeans because I'm only 135 pounds, so.
Got it. Well, you could do squats. You could take protein supplements and have a New York strip for dinner tonight and pump some iron.
You know what? Maybe we could do this too. Since you did the whole reading room, we can do a walking room where for 1 hour we can all do talking and maybe not. It could be a room from in the bus. It could be whatever. But we could do a walking room where it's like let's feed Necro, yeah, some protein shakes and we'll walk for an hour and we'll all do it together. I need that too. I say that because I need it too. You can say no.
I've lost my 6-pack. I used to be so skinny that, I pretty much was all just, pretty much just bones. So.
The egregore mind.
That's not good. That's not healthy.
The egregore mind.
Let's get you some more protein.
Interdimensional dopamine
Well, this is
mining.
why I don't talk very much. A long
Break
time
free
ago,
from the
Siri was
gravity
me on this app
gulag.
said, I figured if I was going to be spending this much time on Clubhouse,
You're
I could
funny,
only be
Chris.
spending this much time on Clubhouse if I was doing something else. So I try to stay busy.
Well, see, when I'm here, most of the time I'm really engaged because I am live streaming myself, so I think it gives me a different experience, maybe a higher dopamine experience. Plus, I smoke cannabis, generally, and drink coffee in the morning. But all I'm trying to say is, let it go, let your thoughts go, because it's very hard to purge your memory, and you never really can. So the whole thing is, if you do want to purge your memory, you have to create new experiences and new educational moments, in my opinion. I think reading a book is meditation. So if you are emotionally discombobulated, from a previous room, just imagine the previous speaker's emotional discombobulation, because when you self roast and you're really nasty and aggressive, it doesn't make you feel good because you're using very negative words and terminology. So I would say have more friendship, have more kindness, because people who are really angry and do road rage, there is no way that they could be sitting well with themselves. It's so I would just say, amplify the love to extinguish the pain.
I wish I could smoke pot. That's not fair. I want to smoke pot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who could benefit from it, but unfortunately, they have these things called jobs, and a lot of
Yeah.
their jobs dictate that they cannot consume a vegetable plant, which in many ways I understand because knowing them, they should be 100% sober doing that job.
Well, I think it's also, for me, it's just a good discipline. I don't need a crutch to take, sorry, if I can take care of myself. I just need to take care of myself.
Yeah, health, wealth, love. I put it in that priority strand because
Well, it's fun, but yeah.
it's hard to maintain your health. It requires work. It's another job.
Monica, to your comment about who knew the word hun would trigger so thoroughly, it can be condescending sometimes.
Oh, it totally is. I agree.
Yeah, yeah. People can, particularly somebody my age, is looking at me and going, hun,
I once
no,
told my teacher,
I'm not your honey.
I once told my teacher, my name is Doctor, not Honey.
Oh, shit. Well, I think that this was a great example of the conflict that it was an excellent, yeah, it was an incredible example that I can never really articulate very well of how I grew up in a Midwestern household.
Yes, there was a war after they called it Israel.
In a southern.
So if they're resisting for their own land or property or whatever, then it turns into a war. It's not a war. They want their shit back. Just like you live in America, you probably want your shit back. If somebody was to come and pull up and say, "Oh no, we have a UN partition plan, or we have this, God promised us this land from 3,000 years ago, give it up," and they force you, and you try to get help from cops or whatever, and the cops are in bed with these people, these criminals that are trying to take over your property, and they even file the cases. There's the cases that they have filed in the court, to try to get their land back or whatever. A lot of the people, and I came across quite a few Palestinians on Twitter space, on here, and even in my real life, they have keys, deeds, and whatever paperwork to their properties. So I don't think it's not. I don't think we can call it a war. They just were resisting. And then the Arab army, they wanted to help them, trying to get their land back.
I guess you could call it an invasion if you wanted, because they didn't have any land in the first place, and they invaded the existing people there to take the space, right? So I could see that being an invasion rather than a war, or an invasion that amounted to a one-sided war. I'm not convinced, though, that there's any basis to take Israel's borders from them as they stand today, but I'm not supportive of them expanding their borders. And
Do you agree? Do you agree with the Nakba?
What would I have to agree to the Nakba? Like, what do you mean?
Like,
when you say do you agree with it?
You said like the borders, you don't want them to expand anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You think that they shouldn't go
I agree with what they did in the first place, is what you're saying. Not from a Zionist principle, no. No, I see what you're saying. But that I would consider people that agree with that portion of it are textbook Zionists. I would say that's what Zionism kind of is the people that think that was completely appropriate. I'm not saying I'm that. I'm saying that in light of the fact that they exist already, I don't think it's appropriate to be taking it from them, but that doesn't mean that they should be supported in expanding it as well. They should not. So I guess what I'm saying, and they should lay off the Palestinians when it comes to the West Bank and the incursions on the West Bank, things like that.
Should they give back land? Should they minimize or reduce their borders?
No, other than turning over anything that they kind of encroached on the West Bank and stuff based on, in the last 40 or 50 years, maybe, yes, but I don't think they should be giving back the proper borders that exist beyond the Golan Heights and the West Bank and Gaza as they stood, after all that happened, I guess.
But there's still people alive that remember it before that, right? So.
Sure. Yeah, but the world's full of conquered people, right? Like that's where it's no different than any other part of history. I'm an American, right? We came in and wiped out the Indians, gave them this shitty little place, those shitty little places to live, and left them their little plots of land.
I bet they resisted.
They did. But they were overwhelmed as well. They resisted, and didn't take very long for them to be vastly outgunned, right? They didn't even have guns, in fact. That was the problem. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not a Zionist because I don't think that Israel has some inherent right to have land. I don't think they have necessarily a cultural right to that ground any more than anybody that lived in I guess what would be called, what was Palestine called for a long time, like Palestine?
British mandate Palestine. Before that, it was called Palestine.
Palestine, yeah. So I don't think Israel has any right to that land over anybody else that lived there when it was Palestine. Let's put it that way.
My question is, right, if they want to live in peace, do you feel like Israel will have to give a goodwill gesture? It's about, what is it, about 8?
I think they should be forced.
Yeah, there's no way of forcing them unless countries go to war with them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, from a world perspective, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying that.
So my question. So do you feel like they're obviously responsible for? Well, they are responsible for most of the stuff, in my opinion. But
they're not. I can't. I think it's going too far to say the way that October 7th went down was acceptable. I'm not saying it shouldn't be expected.
I was going to ask you about that, right? Let me ask you this question, right? So October 7th, you put October 7th on one side, and then you put the 70 years of the way that the Israelis have treated the Palestinians. Do you really think that October 7th outweighs the evil that Israel have done to the Palestinians?
Oh no, I don't think it outweighs it. No, I think that.
So then why is it like?
I think the Palestinians. I think Gaza should have been expected to face some incredibly awful consequences of October 7th. But that doesn't mean that it somehow is worse than...
You can say the same for Israel. Israel should have been expecting the October 7th...
Right. But I have no... I agree with that, but I have no respect for the way that October 7th was actually... The engagement actually took place. I have no respect for the way... I consider how October 7th was handled as textbook terrorism. They targeted civilians on purpose. They tortured for reasons of fear. So if they would have handled it more professionally from a war perspective, they're asking me questions, so I'm answering them. I've been answering questions for a while.
Wednesday, hang on, let him finish, and then you can speak.
So I don't agree with the way that October 7th occurred. I don't agree with what they decided to do for October 7th. If they would have engaged in some kind of official, if they would have targeted military assets or something, then I wouldn't think that way. But they didn't. They targeted civilians on purpose, which is straight up terrorism. Can you argue that Israel targets civilians? I guess, but I can't. October 7th was blatant. So. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not surprised it happened. I'm not surprised Israel responded the way they did.
Teddy, Wednesday wants to speak. Teddy.
Well, that's it. I don't know. I think you understand where I'm going with it.
Thank you, Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm good, thanks.
Oh, that's good. So what I wanted to say is why I don't if you read October 7th, you know that the a lot of the IDF soldiers ran into the kibbutz, and they actually used the civilians as shields, and it was back and forth. They were firing back and forth with each other. Now, did some Hamas target civilians? Yeah, we could say that. But what I saw and what I've read is that the IDF soldiers didn't stand and fight. They ran into the kibbutz like cowards, putting the civilians' lives in jeopardy because they knew Hamas was there. Now, if our military would have done that, Mike, which they wouldn't, that because our military is well trained, you would have a problem with it, right? if the army runs away from just runs away from because it was surprised. Oh my God! Even though it wasn't really a surprise, I mean, there's evidence to show that Egypt warned Israel 2 weeks prior. A lot of people in I think a woman in the Knesset warned higher ups that they were planning something, and they didn't listen to her. And it took 6 or 7 hours for them to even control the situation, which is crazy to me because they have all this weapons that us United States citizens buy for them with our tax dollars, right? So I don't know. I don't believe that. Also, you said something about. Oh.
Wait, before you go on to that, can I make a point about what you just said, and then you can finish the other point? Okay. Everything you said is I think pretty much true. It doesn't obfuscate, whatever that word is, Hamas for targeting civilians. In other words, everything you said is true, and it doesn't change the fact that they went over the border and targeted civilians directly in a terroristic manner. If it ended up where if Israel failed to respond the way America would, that has no bearing on whether or not I think the way that Hamas engaged in the action was acceptable. Period. I mean, none of those things you said changed that whatsoever. That was all after it started. That was all after. That was all after a bunch of kids at a fucking concert were slaughtered, like fucking pigs.
I do want to add the context here. Wednesday, if I may. 7th of October, they came out with $13.95. That was the original number. Then they went down to $11.95. Then they went down from $11.95 to $6.95 civilians, 500 IDF soldiers. Then you have the Hannibal Directive was applied as well. The amount of and they couldn't tell from the Palestinian bodies to the Israeli bodies. That's how burnt up these bodies were. The Apache helicopters were used. We have testimony from Shalomi, the guy that's on this app that was a captive, right? He asked him this question. He said that. I said, was the Hannibal Directive applied? Were they shooting bullets? He said yes. While they were taking him in, he was kidnapped on 7th of October. You have what you call it, and they could not tell for about a week or so because the Apache helicopter carries the automatic what is it called that automatic weaponry that holds up to about 1,200 rounds, and they did apply the Hannibal Directive. There's people at the party. I don't know if you know about the open carry law, Mike, inside Israel. So if you have served in the military, you actually have the open carry law, where you would you could, and some of these people, they even walked over to their cars to grab their weapon. What else was it? Oh yeah, 10 days prior to the attack, Egypt warned Netanyahu that there's going to be attack.
Did you see? Listen, none of this fucking matters though. None of it changes a fucking word that I just said. It just does. You guys keep doing this. I don't care if it's 1,100 or 1,300. I don't care if they had access to weapons in the cars or not. I don't care. I saw it. It was filmed. I saw it with my own fucking eyes. I watched The Last Dance. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you have to become an Israeli sympathizer. Hang on. I'm not saying you have to be an Israeli sympathizer by watching that. But what I am saying is anybody in the right fucking mind can see that was a bloodbath that was aimed directly at civilians, not military targets. Yeah, and I have absolutely no tolerance for that. Zero. I think that there needs to be civilization in the world, and I think countries need to act in non-terroristic manners. We can argue about whether or not Israel is acting in terrorism. We can do that. We can do whataboutism all day long. It doesn't change October 7th and how it went down and what they did and how they did it, and the fact that they're now suffering horrible consequences because they decided to target civilians as a bunch of fucking terrorists in a disgusting manner. You can. I don't see why you have to justify that in order to also think what you guys think. Stop justifying it. It's disgusting.
Hang on a second, please, hang on. So, who do we blame for the Hannibal Directive? That they killed their own people and the hostage?
Who do we what? Sorry, what'd you say?
You do know Hannibal Directive was applied, right? On 7th of October?
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Okay. Hannibal Directive, the first time it was applied in 1986. And then the Hannibal, they didn't share it with the public. And then suddenly, in 2005, according to Haaretz, this reservist, he wanted to serve in the IDF. And, he found out about Hannibal Directive. Hannibal Directive is kill your own and kill the person at the...
Yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it. I mean, if you want to show me some kind of evidence, that's fine. But just saying they couldn't identify the bodies because they were deeply... Because they were burned badly by Apaches does not mean that happened.
Hang on. Because Yoav Galant, the defense minister said it. It was applied. He was a former Israeli defense minister.
I don't care if one person said it. I'm still not buying it. I need more evidence than the flapping gums of one person. There's all kinds of fucking lunatics, including the U.S. government. So
I can provide you the chopper videos, literally, and the testimonies from Shalomi. There's Shalomi on this app. Ask him.
So again, what you're doing, you're justifying how Hamas engaged on October 7th by saying Israel also shot their own people.
I'm questioning. Right? Yes, Israel did.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't change. It doesn't change what Hamas did.
No. Hang on. So this is why we have a problem.
Whataboutism is crap.
Mike, this is why we don't know.
Listen, you can condemn Hamas for what they did and I think everything you think. You do not. It is not either or.
No, nothing. I'm giving you data. I'll give you data.
But listen,
I'm not going based on bullshit. I don't talk about the bullshit. I'll give you the data. Hang on.
We do condemn the killing of civilians, but October 7th was justified. Maybe the method is not justified if civilians were...
Targeting civilians is never justified by any country ever. Ever. Fucking ever.
Are you missing what I'm saying? Like, are you listening?
I don't care. I don't care. When you say it's justified, if you're done, you said it. No, it's not acceptable.
The cause is 100%.
I don't care. No, it's not. There's civilians have nothing to do with it. Nope.
Brother Amir,
if they want to target civilians after they've joined the military, I am listening. I don't need to listen to the rest of it because what you started with, the entire premise, is bullshit.
God bless October.
Hang on.
We condemn it and then we say God bless it. Fuck you. Why was it disingenuous?
I posted video of the
You want to stop being disingenuous? We can have a conversation.
Hang on. So I put the link in the chat for Hannibal Directive. This is a testimony of Commander of IDF. And Brother Zero put in the chat, you can look up the
actual helicopter.
The actual helicopter. He got connected. Yes, he got connected with the people on the ground using WhatsApp groups and whatnot. And this is all Israeli sources. And if you're going to deny the Israeli official saying this, the commander of IDF said it. Yoav Galant, he was the defense minister of IDF, the Israeli government. I don't know what to tell you, Mike.
Okay, so again, whataboutism? Explain to me what the Hannibal Directive has to do with Hamas beginning an attack on October 7th by targeting civilians, kids, at a fucking concert directly.
No.
Tell me what that is. Now later, Israel said we're going... I don't even care if you say Israel said those... Hang on. I don't even care if you say Israel said they'll shoot their own people rather than let's be taking us hostage.
Let him finish.
I don't care.
Let him finish, and then you can go speak.
Even if you say Israel initiated a directive after they were attacked on October 8th to kill civilians, Israeli civilians, directly rather than allow them to be taken as hostages in Gaza, then that's a conversation to be had, and that's something to be investigated, and that's something to be tried to try them as war criminals if they do that. At the same time, it doesn't fucking change what Hamas did as completely unacceptable. It doesn't. You can't justify it. There's no justification by doing whataboutisms. It's ridiculous. This guy before said, we don't support what they did, but they had a right to do it, and God bless October 7th. That means you do support. Well, that means you do support it. So you're lying. You're fucking lying.
I didn't say that.
What's wrong? He did. The guy did. He's a fucking liar. He's a liar.
The mic is on zero. Hang on. The mic is on zero. Please allow Zero to respond, and then Abu, you can go after.
Someone needs to change that guy's diaper.
Yeah, this is all. That's stupid. If you want to go there,
can you please respond to the point instead of doing the personal attacks? Come on, man.
Well, there it is. There it is, right there. More people were killed by the IDF than were killed by the freedom fighters on October 7th. More people were killed by Israel. More. Take a look at the fucking video, dude.
You're a fucking
Look
liar.
at the video.
You're a fucking liar.
I posted the video.
You're a fucking
Look
liar.
at the video. I posted the video. Look at the video. Look at the video. Look at the video. The Apache helicopters are just wiping those people out, dude. Of course I'm lying. Of course I'm lying to you. Of course I'm lying. Everything to you is a lie.
No, not everything to me is a lie.
Everything is a lie. Everything is a fucking lie,
will you shut up
stupid.
zero for a second? For 1 second? Amir, I have made a bunch of concessions in describing to you what I think. I am obviously not a Zionist based on everything I said, okay? Now, can you believe one thing and still not believe that Israel has a right to be engaged in the war today as they're doing it?
No, they do not.
You can do both.
No, they do not. They do not.
That's ridiculous. It's
They
either
do
or.
not
If
have a
anything,
right
this
to
guy
be-
has
dude,
absolutely no nuance.
Dude,
You
the
guys have no fucking
United
nuance.
Nations, dude, the United
Zero, that
Nations
wasn't
has
for
said,
you. That was for Amir. I don't care about you.
dude,
You already lied.
the
I
United
don't want to
Nations
lie.
has
Zero,
said.
hang on, please.
Ask him what the
So,
definition of the
Mike-
war is. What is the definition
Mike,
of the war?
Mike, hang on. Mike, so how do you suppose them to get their own people back? Do you know what the objective of Hamas was? The objective of Hamas was to go in there, grab IDF soldiers to, so that way they can exchange them for their own people that have been locked up under administrative detention without due process for years, and even including children.
What I saw them grab was, in one case, a girl that was tall, long dark hair, and she had her legs broken, put her on the back of that pickup truck. She wasn't a soldier. So I don't buy that at all. That wasn't who they targeted. They targeted civilians. They ended up fighting some soldiers after 6 hours, and Israel was negligent and not responding faster. But, and you know what? I'll even give you this. Israel created Hamas on purpose. It's Israel's fault, just like the United States created Afghanistan. These countries do this. They go in for their best interest. They put people in place, and it bites them in the ass later. America's done it multiple times.
One second. So, Mike, they just, I'm going to say this, and then Abu, you have the mic. I'll provide you an article from Times of Israel. Lieberman, this is one of the Knesset members. He came out, he said Netanyahu is giving weapons to ISIS, Abu Shabat. That's actually identified.
Okay, so this is Amir. He's a potential terrorist, and he's a terrorist supporter operating on Clown House. And as you heard, Abu said he praises the October 7th attacks. You'll hear all kinds of disgusting propaganda in this room. This is a propaganda crafting course.
7th of October, it was multiple gangs. It wasn't just one gang that did that 7th of October. So go on, Abu.
Man, he said after 6 hours, Hamas started fighting with some IGF soldiers. So where were the ones patrolling the border? Was there no one at the border? How did they start fighting after 6 hours?
Apparently, it was some kind of holiday in Israel, and they didn't respond because they were basically not literally like negligent. They were just flat out negligent.
Oh, sure.
Again, what you're justifying is they had a right to have it happen because they weren't defending their borders. That's stupid. Again, that's stupid.
Mike, just listen to your answer, yeah? You're telling me that one of the most expensive
I've been to Israel.
One second, Fatima. One second.
What?
You're telling me that one of the most expensive borders in the world, a highly equipped border, they're accusing the other side to be terrorists. They had a holiday on October 7th and there was no one at the border?
Bro, can I add Abu? Can I add to Abu?
I didn't say there was nobody at the border. There was obviously nobody. Yeah, there was a holiday, and I think their trips were reduced because of that. I didn't say they had nobody at the border.
Holiday or not, in every corner, holiday
because
or
of the
fucking
holiday,
not holiday.
Fatima,
There
can you
is
relax for 1
every
second?
corner is
Fatima, can you relax for 1 second?
Fatima, just hang on. You just came in. You don't know the context of the story that we're going back and forth.
The context.
You don't know. Fatima, hang on. So recently, there's a testimony from an IDF commander, IDF soldier. I even played it in front of Amos. Amos is Israeli kibbutz. The IDF says on the TV, he says, we were told not to show up for work on 7th of October at the Gaza checkpoints. I'll provide you that video as well. I came across it a couple of days ago. I was in a shock and this was all self-inflicted 7th of October attack. It had nothing to do with Hamas. It was all nothing.
100% believable. I've been to Israel. There's fucking IDF in the fucking desert, bro. How you gonna justify there's no IDF on a fucking holiday? People celebrating like it's the most dangerous place in the world. Like, it's fucked up. No, this is the set up shit. These people were told not to be there.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and post a video of the man testifying in the Knesset, and he says that he received orders. Listen, can you hear me?
We're not talking to you. We're talking to Mike about the mic.
Okay, listen. Israeli soldier testifies to Knesset committee. We received orders from Golani Brigade commanders on October 7th to cancel all patrols along the Gaza border from 5:20 to 9 a.m. So I'm going to go ahead and post it where he talks about how he was ordered to not patrol. And this is the guy that says that one of the excuses was that there was a sniper. And he says, yeah, but I was there. If there were a sniper, I would have seen it. So this is a guy testifying to the Knesset that he was ordered by the Golani Brigade to stand down and do not patrol between 5:30 and 9 a.m. on October 7th. And you can watch the video, Mike.
Amir, I'll find this file, right? It's like some lawyers in the UK. They've documented and put in an Excel spreadsheet of every single thing that the Israeli government's officials have said, the soldiers have said, everything. It's got all the evidence for it. I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you, brother. Thank you. Send it to Mike. Mike, would you be able to, or would you be okay reading the file that was compiled by the UK officials, the lawyers and whatnot, what they have said and what they have done, and relate to the 7th of October?
Sure, it's not an end all be all though. Listen to testimony of people. There's a shit ton of there's all kinds of fucking Fruit Loop people that say shit on all sides of all issues, and I don't take any one person's word for it, whether or not they work in the government. It's irrelevant.
So
if there's evidence,
you believe?
If there's evidence of more people agreeing to that, and then there's some circumstantial and some physical evidence otherwise, but one person saying something is not going to change my mind now. It never would on any side of any issue. There's so many fucking fruitcake bullshit people, even people in the government. It's kind of like if one person in the Israeli government said, we're trying to genocide the Gazans. I wouldn't say the entire government is his agenda is genocide. Yeah, I get that you believe that. I know. I use this as an example, and I know you believe that. I mean, you're pretty transparent. It's not too hard to figure out what you think.
What up, Scotty boy?
Hold on. If it wasn't the genocide case, ICC would not have issued the arrest warrant for Netanyahu. ICC goes based on data and facts. ICJ, they played as clips as well. Did you see the ICJ trial? The amount of crimes that they have committed, the army. So they have to base it off videos and the evidence that they have. We have. You see what I'm saying? We have to base our opinion on the evidence that we have. How the hell are you gonna come up here and IDF commander, a chief of defense minister of Israel is saying that no water, no food. The intention is right there. He said it. Hannibal directive was applied, and it's part of the idea of military. Kill everybody that's taking your own. Kill that person and kill your own. That's called Hannibal directive. I want you to go look it up. Do your research. It's a lot of evidence out there that shows the Hannibal directive was applied on 7th of October.
Well, there's
way more people.
There's a few people in this room that it's impossible to change anything about what they think, and I'm not one of them. Okay. So the rest of you are like it's like banging my head into a fucking brick wall because you're disingenuous and you're not open-minded enough to explore things that are not just blatant fucking propaganda. And I'm over it, dude. You guys are intolerable. It's an intolerable group of closed-minded, stupid people. It's an intolerable group of stupid, closed-minded people.
You contradict yourself. First, you don't want to accept any. Well, you drive me nuts, to be honest with you, Fatima. So first, you don't want to accept anything coming out of any high-ranking official or whatever government.
I didn't say that.
In other words, you did say that, and now you're saying you don't want to believe us because it's all propaganda. So where do you?
In other words, I didn't say that. You adding in other words doesn't mean I said it.
Sure. So where do you get your information from?
Evidence. More than one person. Not hearsay. All kinds of evidence. There's tons of evidence on all kinds. There's a lot of evidence. Multiple sources, multiple articles, multiple sources. Reuters, Associated Press, CNN. Wednesday!
I'll say something.
Mike, your pressure's gonna get high. I'm worried about you.
How are you assured they're not
Abu Fatima, you could speak. Abu, you got brother.
He's a shy Zionist. That's
Okay,
It does nothing to accuse me of bullshit like that.
You are a Zionist, buddy.
It's completely irrelevant to the conversation. Listen, again, I can tell you've lost the argument when you resort to just
you can say
to calling me names. That's okay. No, that's what people do when they lose. I already proved why I'm not a Zionist. I already explained why I'm not. I already proved that I'm not. I proved that I'm not. Because you're saying I'm a Zionist. Were you here in the room when I explained why I'm not a Zionist? Did you disagree with what I said?
Okay, but I agree with my...
Abu, were you here in the room?
I want to ask my own question.
Abu, there are no Zionists who do not believe that Israel is preordained to have land in that area. I do not believe that.
I zone out when Zionists.
I know, and then when you say things later, they're stupid because you zoned out earlier. I got it. I figured it out.
Someone calm down.
I've been calling you.
Here's a guy acting like he knows something, and then admitting that he zoned out and didn't listen to what I said earlier. So that's just fucking dumb. He's ignorant, he's admitting it. He's admitting his own fucking ignorance. Richard, I didn't say you don't. I said you didn't listen to me. So now you're accusing me of something you didn't listen to. Ken, you're a fucking tool.
I mean,
You're a fucking tool.
Are you just talking because people are talking? Is that what you're doing?
Let Fatima speak, and then we can pass the mic to Mazi.
Okay, I want to say something. Okay, people in here are very aggressive sometimes. I think we need to stop calling people Zionists too fast. Or
You're
like
a fucking Zionist too.
Let her finish, brother.
Like, because we have some disagreements, like...
No, it's not a disagreement.
Let her finish, man. I want to pass the mic to Mazi. I want to finish.
Because of disagreements, you shouldn't call people Zionists, because that's not true. Let me finish, please. Don't interrupt on what I'm gonna say now. So, I don't believe in any government, okay?
Why did they do that? Too many. They're murderers.
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
Of course I do.
Yeah,
I just told you the truth, and you know it's true. You don't deny it. You're trying to change the subject. How many?
I don't know how many.
You've been
how many
defeated.
elderly that you're talking about that never served in the IDF? How many?
You've been morally defeated.
I have not.
Too many, Mateo. Okay. So how many now? Now that you've conceded that you were wrong, now you want to see how wrong you were?
I was wrong.
Well, you just admitted that they killed Holocaust survivors who had never served, old people, right?
You showed me the evidence. I don't admit it. You showed me the evidence. Who's the Holocaust survivor that was killed?
Do you deny it?
I don't.
You wanted to Google that?
I said I am ignorant. I don't know what you're talking about. Yep, show me.
You've finally been honest. You're ignorant.
Yeah,
So this is
I
the
am
difference
ignorant
between
to your claim.
Yes. No. Well, no, you're ignorant, period. You don't know who serves. You don't know what the rules
Actually,
are.
I do because
You know that they killed little children. No, you know very well that you're no longer active duty.
Active duty and reservists have an ID. They have an active duty or a reservist ID, and they carry that around regardless of whether they're in uniform or not. This show references their military status.
If you're not active, then you're not a combatant, and you know it. You're just a citizen.
Exactly.
So the guy's name is Moshe Ridler. That's the first one that comes up. Killed by Hamas during the October 7th attack. He was 91. Murdered in his home by Hamas. He escaped a concentration camp in Eastern Europe at age 11.
Yeah, was he murdered in his home as in shot and you have it, or was it the Israelis when the Hamas took over the kibbutzes and Israel started bombing the kibbutzes with tank rounds? With heat rounds. Because we have that on camera. We have literally tank rounds firing into kibbutzes.
Do you see how weak your thing is? Do you see how weak?
No, not at all. You know what's weak when you go, when Israel goes.
What's weak is your moral failure. Your people that you support
murdered children, too young to serve, as you know, the Beavis twins, deliberately, and kidnapped them. They either killed them on sight or they kidnapped them and killed them when they were in captivity. They said that there were signs that they'd been strangled. You killed Holocaust survivors who were too old to serve. You did not distinguish between combatants and non-combatants. And no, not everybody in Israel is a legitimate target if you're not a terrorist like Hamas. Those are the facts, Mikhail. You should really stop interrupting because it undermines your position. You don't. I understand that you are trained not to engage with an actual intellectual point. To keep changing. How many old people who could no longer serve? How many young people who would never serve? How many social workers who were not reservists because they did social work instead of their army service? I can give you the 1,200 people who were murdered by Hamas. They didn't know who was serving and who was not, neither do you. But they were in active duty. So the international law says that a combatant must be in uniform.
One of the sources, and it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, who said, that, you stupid people that are listening to CNN, you're listening to Fox News. It's a fucking genocide.
Hey, Zero? Hey, Zero. Who else did I mention other than CNN? Do you remember any of the other ones? If you listen, what else did I say?
Marjorie Taylor Greene said it's a
I got it. Yeah, What else did I say? Hey, Zero. Hey, Zero. Hey, Zero. Hey, Zero. Hey, Zero.
Agree, dude.
What else did I say? What else did I say, Zero?
Make this a volume contest. Please don't make it a volume contest.
I'm not making it a volume contest anymore. I asked him a simple question.
Do you agree with Marjorie Taylor?
Zero. What else did I listen to?
Do you agree?
Where else did I get my information? Hey, Zero. Where else did I get my information?
Do you agree?
Zero. What else did he say? What else did he say?
I asked my question first, Zero. Then I'll answer your question about MGT. I asked my question first. What else do I listen to? Where else do I get my information?
Do you agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I'll answer that question at the end of mine. My question was first. My question was first.
Why are you listening to CNN?
Zero. I asked you a question.
Slow me saying that. They're straight out lying, and they're trying to trash this thing, and 100% it's not true.
This is what they do. I just went in there.
The point is that Marjorie Taylor Greene said that you people that are listening to that book.
I heard you. I don't.
Go ahead, but somebody was speaking. But yeah, go ahead.
So, do you think we should say God bless the Warsaw Uprising or not?
This is gross.
So do you constantly go back in history? Do we say God bless your father for making you a fucking midget?
No.
No, like what? For what? No. Should we bless your father and your mother that you're a short fucking freak?
That's fine.
No, but how does that change the fact that you spit garbage every day and you're a terrorist sympathizer?
Okay.
No. How does that change the fact?
One at a time. The fact that Prince is a midget and he's got anger issues is separate, and it is fascinating that he and Mikhail so desperately want to be Jews, so desperately want to be victims, that at every chance they get, they want to compare themselves to the Jews of the Holocaust, as though there's any comparison here at all. Don't forget, Mikhail and Prince, Hamas invaded Israel, not the other way around.
And that they keep talking more and more about Warsaw and Auschwitz. I don't remember the Jews committing a terrorist act.
This is proof that I heard you, right? Okay.
And then
Mike,
The Jews were not holding hostages because that's what
Taylor Greene said that the attack was genocide, or she disagreed with it, whatever the fuck you said. So the point is, did I hear you say?
No, I'm going to correct it again.
All right, go for it.
First of all, I didn't say, hey, Mike. I said, Amir. This guy, Mike, says that he is getting information from CNN.
Right.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. I did not say Marjorie Taylor.
What's that? Okay, that's correct. You were. So don't interrupt until I'm finished. That's okay.
You're just a pathetic weak.
Okay, so, okay, don't interrupt. Don't make personal attacks. So, Shlomi was kept in the home of a journalist, so-called, who was really a Hamas member, and his father, who was a doctor. And even the kids and the wife participated in the hostage keeping. That makes them active members of Hamas. That implicates them in war crimes. That family is committing war crime as a family. Go ahead, feel free to bring somebody up. I don't want to be the only one.
Bring up whoever you guys want, man, because it's funny. It's not funny anymore. It's actually sad. I actually feel sad for their parents, for their family, for their relatives, for their neighbors. How fucking stupid they can be, and how they always want to go back in history, but they fail to talk about what really happened during the Holocaust. Jews didn't have captives.
They want to be Jews.
What about the innocent Russians that got killed by the Bolsheviks? Where did they get
Whoa.
those such
The Bolsheviks are terrorists. It's not an analogy. But Enigma, why don't you engage with somebody? I think you're good at it and you want to get some steam off. Bring somebody up and engage with them, Enigma. I'll let you guys do it. I'm all right. I don't want to be the only one.
I don't know anyone really who would want to talk to me because I'm probably one of the most hated people on here. But yeah, no, I just
have a dialogue.
Sorry, go on.
I would love to have a dialogue.
Okay, well, give me a second. I just want to.
I'm trying to bring Prince back up. Somebody else has to. I've already brought him up twice.
Enigma, they hate all of us. It's not the same.
Okay, so.
Who hates what? Oh, you mean normal people? Yes, they hate normal people.
No, I'm talking about the terrorist supporters hate us. But you know what? I don't want to be friends with the terrorist supporters. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to play a clip in the room. The Am Yisrael Chai. Can you play it, please? Right now?
I don't have that.
No, he's playing it right now, guys. There's going to be a clip being played.
Ever wondered why none of the Arab countries that loudly claim to care about Palestinians are willing to take them in, even temporarily? Egypt, their direct neighbor, won't even let Gazans shelter in the Sinai. Instead, it has tightened border security to keep them out. It's time to name the elephant in the room: Arab hypocrisy and the calculated mistreatment and marginalization of the Palestinians. The truth is uncomfortable but undeniable. The Islamic world never intended to solve the Palestinian issue. They created it to weaponize it against Israel. Arab regimes have never supported the idea of a sovereign, independent Palestine. Instead, they kept Palestinians stateless and disenfranchised by design. So why is that? Because a bitter, unassimilated refugee population was far more useful as a permanent thorn in Israel's side. The worse the Palestinian condition, the more valuable they became as propaganda tools against Israel and as a bottomless justification for siphoning Western taxpayer money through compromised organizations like UNRWA into the pockets of Hamas and the PLO. It is the sadomasochistic system of perverse incentives. But the Palestinians aren't just victims of Arab betrayal. They have made their bet again and again. They launched every major war with Israel since 1948. They rejected every peace offer that didn't involve the dismantling of the Jewish state. And they elected Hamas, a genocidal death cult that glorifies child sacrifice. Thus, their perpetual suffering isn't just imposed, it's also chosen through leadership, ideology, and a collective refusal to abandon the delusion of erasing Israel. For nearly a century, Palestinian leadership has aligned with the wrong side of history, supporting Saddam Hussein, allying with Assad, attempting multiple coups in Jordan, and playing a devastating role in the Lebanese civil war. Every host nation that welcomed them eventually paid the price and learned the hard way that solidarity came with subversion. The roots of this
Hamas, the PLO under Arafat, cultivated a quasi-religious cult of blood. The revolution was treated as a sacrament. Children's death were proof of commitment. From the river to the sea was not a metaphor, it was a murderous mandate. In school books, children were taught that Israel is a temporary entity. Jews have no right to exist in the holy Arab land, a claim blatantly refuted by the very mosque they built atop a 3,000-year-old Jewish temple, and that martyrdom is nobler than coexistence. Hamas took this culture and codified it into state ideology. Civilians are used as human shields. Funerals are PR spectacles, and death is a public relations weapon. The strategy is brutally effective. Provoke Israel into retaliation, engineer civilian casualties, then scream genocide. In this grotesque economy, dead Palestinians are the currency, spent for headlines, sympathy, and foreign aid. The tragedy is not only that Israel is under siege, the deeper tragedy is that an entire generation of Palestinians has been offered up to Moloch, an ancient god of child sacrifice, now rebranded as resistance. They're taught that paradise lies not in building, creating, or reforming, but in dying soaked in Jewish blood. In this ritual cult of annihilation, progress is treason, compromise is sin, and life itself is subordinated to the ecstasy of violent death. In a world where Islamism forbids pluralism, progress, or joy, martyrdom is the only route to dignity. Every one of you who supports this morbid cause is complicit in perpetuating the abuse and suffering. You are not helping Palestinians by championing a fabricated nationalist cause engineered to exploit them. You are helping their jailers, theocrats, kleptocrats, and terrorists tighten their grip. You're not standing with the oppressed. You are kneeling before Moloch.
This video has been, or she has been faced with upteen and multiple death threats since posting this. She is an Arab woman from the Middle East. I will not mention her name. She sees things for what they are and what they really are. And that's it. And you know what? All these so-called Palestinian supporters, all these North Africans that support this Palestinian cause, all these people, they should be fucking hanging their heads in shame. Look at the Egyptians, the fact that they've not opened the border. They haven't given these people shelter. It tells you, as she says in this video, about the hypocrisy, the absolute and utter hypocrisy of the Arab people. Thanks.
Thank you.
I want to read an update on, I checked ChatGPT, so key takeaway. Inactive reservists have a military obligation and could be called back to active duty. They are not considered active combatants unless they are activated and directly participate in hostilities. That's the international law. Regarding this weird stuff that they're posting in the chat, this sort of Nazi-like, no, they're not military personnel, and they're not armed. You're just wrong. It's sad to see somebody so stupid. I mean, how do they even let you in the army? Isn't there a minimum IQ? Yeah, it's tragic to see the pretzel that you have to bend yourself into in order to wriggle out of your moral depravity when it came to slaughtering innocent civilians. As you focused on this, all the people in the dance festival, there were people from other countries. You were killing Tanzanians and Thai people and Filipino people. You massacred them. You cut their heads off with a hoe, and you filmed it, and you uploaded it. That's what you did. You have to live with that. Sorry, I hope I wasn't interrupting somebody.
No, it's all right. You can say it. How can I join the IDF? Do I have to be an Israeli citizen?
Submit your application in the bottom left. There's a chat and we'll review it, and then yeah, because I know you're fucking trolling right now.
Okay, what do I put in there?
You up a few days ago.
Weight and age. rights.
Are you writing this down? You need to go to the website for this. It's called www.imaschmuck.com. See your name there, and we'll consider your application. Thank you.
Isn't it funny that they're all kind of
Dead on that same day.
I'm not sure.
But more than like 10, you think? Like more than 10?
Yeah, I think they say 40 or something. I don't know. I think they just say the grave was open though. I think they say they worked for like 40 days or something like that. I don't think they say the number though.
No, it just says
there, and then you started moving people down.
I didn't move anyone. I didn't.
How does it feel to be the bitch and the side bitch to Monica? Like you are that desperate? Fuck.
No, it was Mojo's room, and he had met me earlier in the day.
Okay, Dr. Adams, I'm going to restart. Thanks for joining.
I didn't.
Really? Oh yeah. Hey, just like you're not white, you're fucking made that shit up. Let's talk about you and your fucking bullshit. I'll go toe to toe. Like again, like listen, you sent your money out there, you sent your booty out there. Nobody rejected it. We're actually shocked that the short guy, he must be really desperate. Went with you. It's like at the PX. It's like the barracks at the Marine base. That when the guy, the first fucking recruit, brings the stripper home, and he's like, I'm in love with her after she's been a barracks bunny for her entire life. You are exactly that fucking person. You are that woman on Clubhouse. You ran through Clubhouse. You ran through more dick than any other fucking OnlyFans model. And then you were like, I'm just an innocent girl, and I'm not white. Which you are white.
What's a barracks bunny? These new terms. Can you go slow? I'm trying to write these new terminologies down, please, bro.
I didn't touch on any of that. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. I'm not the reason for it. And you're really tough, coming at a bunch of women. You're so tough. Right?
I told my guys that you jumped in the fucking way. You wanted to throw your mouth. Here's the thing, man. You should shut the fuck up and sit on the sideline and not fucking engage. But you didn't want to be brought in. But you decided that you were going to open your mouth earlier, and now it's all hands on.
I didn't say one word.
I don't give a fuck what you thought. I don't care. Again, don't. Like, you're a batshit fucking crazy. We know all about your little divorce thing. Like, let's air it all. We know about the fact that you fucking live off of daddy's check.
Hold on, guys, hold on. Listen. We don't need to have 1,000 rules, but I think that some of the stuff, the personal stuff, is unnecessary. And I think some people have made a huge mistake on this app by sharing a lot of personal information with each other. And it gets crazy when people want to bring it up. The reality is that when I look across this stage, everyone on this stage, well, most of this stage, I'll just say most of the stage, is guilty of breaking just some basic rules that would make this app better. And then the offenders play the victims then go on the offense. I'm just simply asking the question, can we set up rules of engagement that allow for families to be off limits? Could we set up rules of engagement where first of all, if the drama is 4 years old, I think we should get over some of that stuff. Dude, some of the drama on this app has lasted longer than World War II. And I think that it's time for us to think about, can we have conversations with each other, with people that we like, people that we dislike, and be honest, but without trying to harm them. I think the doxing thing needs to come to an end. I think the including people's families, honestly, if you've learned about somebody's spouse, brother, sister, mother, father, whatever it is, let's just leave them out of it. Let's just stop talking about the family. I don't think that's a bad rule. And I think all it would take is for us to all agree that, that would make the conversation better. And that also means to process the fact that, well, some of these people have already done this, and maybe I need my pound of flesh. The way that forgiveness works, and you don't have to completely forgive, you just have to simply say, okay, from this moment forward, I'm going to vow to do better. And again, I would be lying if I said I didn't find the drama intriguing. When Brad goes on his rants, I find myself, and I've shared this with Brad, I find myself in a position where I have to moderate the room
Some of the things that he says I do think are cringe, and other things that he says I think are fucking hilarious. And you have to balance.
They are. I always make popcorn when Brad starts his shit.
You have to balance these things, and all I'm saying is, like, wouldn't it be grand if Brad had the flexibility to go on an epic Brad rant and just have just some bumpers up, just like bumper bowling, where we simply just say, okay, no gutter balls. You can't talk about family, like, and I don't know what that full set of rules should look like. All I can say is some of the things that people say are super out of pocket, and the kind of things that wouldn't be said in real life, because if it was said in real life, people would be flipping tables and there'd be fights going on. We shouldn't be talking to people on this app in a way that we wouldn't be prepared to talk face to face.
Yeah, well, can I just say something? Can I just say one thing? There are a lot of people on this application who can't stand in their own truth. There are a lot of other people who are just a persona. They're like, the way that they are on here is not who they are in their real everyday lives. So I mean, it's sometimes like a genuine person who's like battling this like alter ego persona type bullshit, and they're not even really, you know, nothing can be dealt with, because when that person logs off, they go back into their everyday problematic life probably, and they have to sit with themselves and their truth. And some people get uncomfortable with that, so that's why they come here and they create these wonderful personas that make them who they're really not. So if we could, you know, find people who are willing to sit in their truth, that would be great. And if hurt people can please heal, that would be awesome.
Let me ask John Kitover a question. Future Congressman Kitover, can you tell us what you think the Dow would say about the way that we've been treating each other on this app?
Yeah, I would just say stop thinking and your problems. The more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get. So, you know, this isn't like a meditation course. I think, you know, this is entertainment, and people come here for dopamine creation and stirring the pot, and the listeners also partake in that. But when people start crying, see, I believe this is a roast house. It's a roast show. It's a barbecue party, and the problem with slinging insults at scale is, in retrospect, if you listen to that recording, you would say, I'm also roasting myself because I'm making myself, you know, into something I would probably not want to be, which could be like a Jekyll Hyde, you know, Mr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing, where it's better to remain the doctor as opposed to becoming Frankenstein. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, let's talk about standing in truth, guys. You know who it is. It's your good friend Diogenes, and Brad owes me $1,000. I would love for him to stand on that truth. Would he like some proof of my Marine Corps enlistment, or how should we arrange that? Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's stand on truth. Let's be about the things we say. Let's do the things we say we're going to do.
I thought you were going to kill me, God. I thought you were going to go at my house. I thought you were going to do that. I thought you were going to show up at my door with a gun and set up in the back. Didn't that happen?
Hold on. Everyone meet up. I think this is a perfect time. We were talking about some new rules that might need to be adopted, but let's talk about the old rules, shall we? I'll read them off to you here in a second. Well, if the app stops glitching, I will.
If you go ahead and look those up,
hold on.
Let's just establish one thing.
You're gonna shut your mouth. You're gonna shut your mouth.
Oh, please, don't do this.
No, I'm gonna do this. I just said that I was gonna read the rules, and you're interrupting. So, if this app will stop glitching, I can move you to the audience. I'll bring you back up, but I want to read the rules. I think rules are important. It's funny that the libertarian is the one that always needs to talk about the rules. It's amazing. Okay, so rule number 1, no threats of violence. I've heard some of those from some of you over time. No doxing. I've heard a lot of that over time. In fact, right here in this room. Stay on topic. Right now, the topic is pretty meta, so we'll be okay. Keep your share brief. That's an important one. do not interrupt speakers, especially mods. That's one that Diogenes is going to struggle with mightily, but we'll give him another chance. We'll get him up there. Mods may interject when appropriate. The N and K words are forbidden on stage and in chat. If anybody has a problem with that, they can discuss it privately with me. I have my reasons. Number 8, don't spam the chat. Number 9, do not bring drama here from other rooms. I would say that we're all violating that rule, including myself. So rule number 9, we have been violating the fuck out of that rule. English only, that's a pretty easy one to enforce. Just don't speak other languages. Any objection to the rules? No objection to the rules. Okay, great. Should we add to the rules?
Yes. I think there should be a rule for the hurt people if they can heal first, and that would be great.
Well, I think that before people are offended, they should declare, who hurt them, and they should confess that, hey, I'm hurt. There's an exercise that therapists walk people through where they use I feel statements. I feel. And
I love those.
Yeah, the I feel statements would sound something like, Brad, when you went after Shirley, I felt that was a little over the top, even for you, and I feel that you could do better than that, and I feel that you know that you could do better than that. See, this is the use of I feel statements. What do you guys think of those?
I think it was a great one. I'll give an example too. Brad, I think when you were going after Shirley, I feel that she may have been a little entertained by that. I feel that she also may have felt like, wow, I'm recognized today. But that's just me. So, is that good?
I feel that Shirley didn't like what she got when she tried to interject earlier, and that the biggest, I guess that's probably the most fun she felt in the last, 50, 60, 75 years. It's hard to tell with these Gilded Age girls.
I think that you owe me money, and you're not a man of your word, and we've got an abundance of evidence at this point that you just run your mouth. So I thought it was great to come in here to see you running your mouth again. And there's a moderator who's talking about, or who's continuing a conversation about people doing what they say they're going to do, being the person they are in real life on the application. And I agree with that. I think that we should take our internet personas and, as much as practical, combine them with the people we are in real life. And I think, Brad, you could start by paying your debts. You said I wasn't in the military. You said you'd pay me $1,000 if I could prove I was, and I did. And now you're running away from that, Brad. Do you want to tell the people? Is it because you're too poor? I did suggest that if you would apologize and admit that you lied, I would forgive the debt. Because I am magnanimous. Okay, Bradley, do you have anything to say?
Okay, so again, I thought that, I get it. You're broke, you're homeless, you're dating a very obese Muslim girl on the app, and you think somehow or another you're a winner. Even, has to wipe your ass for you, and you've got your 2 followers. I get that. And you need money. I get it. You have issues in that department. You're I don't know what's going on. I guess child support is expensive. Even for you, I guess you've been broke. You've asked me for $1,000, and you even threatened to come to my door with a firearm and say, I'll get you to back down. I'm still waiting for that. I said it was a told you where I was. I even offered you a place to beat up. You know what you did? You went to your own little private room and howled. Then you cried to Dave. Then you cried to KK. Then you cried to Roger. Then you cried to literally everybody on the app. Thinking somehow or another they were going to convince me or anybody that you really wanted to take your side. And I get it that you included your girl with the fat Muslim cowgirl, the camel dog, the one that's up there. The one that's really hates Jews along with you guys, right? Little dumb bullshit. You're immature, you're insignificant. You're insignificant because your mama stopped breastfeeding you.
haircut, you're just working up the courage to be protected, not to pull the triggers. But, quite frankly, dude, if you think I owe you, show up. If you're not going to show up and you're just going to spend 2 years on an app crying that you need money and begging for it, I mean, open a GoFundMe, maybe have your Islamic little jihad wannabe whore fucking do a GoFundMe OnlyFans. I mean, maybe she can like show you some camel licking. I think that would be great. Maybe you could show how gays can get better sex because she can peg you from behind. I mean, that's great. We know it's the truth. You guys aren't getting it.
Okay. I'm gonna jump in real quick. So this is a good example of breaking some of the rules. We're talking about drama from other rooms, so we should consider not doing that. Also, why can't we move on? First of all, let me ask you this. Diogenes, do you have a contract against this? Yes, you do. There's a verbal contract by multiple witnesses to the verbal contract. He has satisfied all of the requirements under multiple state and federal laws that constitute a contract. There was a consideration. He offered $1,000 if I would provide proof that I did serve in the military. I did provide that. I can provide that again. And therefore, he owes me what he promised. He promised to pay $1,000. Do we have any lawyers in the room? Do we have any lawyers? Where's Abby when you need her? Look, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what. All I can say is that, somebody that says like, "Hey, I bet the moon is made out of cheese," and then somebody, proves that the moon is made out of cheese. I don't know if you're going to be able to collect on that. Like, if I'm being honest, I think if you guys were to go into a courtroom, I don't think you would get paid. That would be my guess. But I wish Abby was here to settle this for us.
Well, I can
Great, Mojo, is that it doesn't matter. Ultimately, the question is not what will a court decide. The question is, what will the public decide, and how is it that we're going to conduct ourselves? Are we going to platform and waste our time listening to people who run their mouth? You heard just the verbal diarrhea there a moment ago. Brad will say anything and everything, and so you have to take that into consideration and understand that generally in our real lives we don't spend time with people who will say anything because we know that they're lying. Nothing that they think has any real value because they'll say anything. You don't know what they actually believe. You don't know what they'll actually stand for. The bottom line is a man should do what he says he's going to do, and he said he was going to pay $1,000. He was so certain. He was offered every single possible opportunity to back out, and many people can testify to that fact. He's been given multiple opportunities to simply admit, I was wrong. You proved it. I got in over my head. I don't want to pay you the money. But instead of doing that, he threatens violence. He makes insults, crass and unnecessary insults. And at the end of the day, he owes me the money. And I'm not going to let it go. I would never let it go. He wanted to run his mouth. And I've paid my debts. Ask anyone on my case and I
Hold on. Listen. The problem here in this room is that many of the people weren't present to know what's going on. You and Brad may have been. Maybe there's some witnesses here. It sounds like this Dino guy, who is a questionable character, is on your side. All I can say is that whatever that arrangement was, it didn't
Yeah, we're reading from the ancient Chinese classic, the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, which means the Great Way or the Book of Changes. It's a psychological thriller on wisdom, politics, governance. You're gonna love it. I hope you'll join us in the muff.
There we go. All right, nice shout out for our book reading room. Look, I'll just say this. I don't want to adjudicate this, and I don't think it's my place because it happened in a different room. So, Diogenes, if you want to file a suit against Brad, you can go do that. If you want to open a room and complain about it, you can go do that. But in this room, we're not going to bring yesterday's drama to today's room. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know how you feel, Mojo. And I have to say, obviously, I am greatly disappointed that you're going to cuck out on this, because I hope I won't ever catch you again talking about wanting there to be some realistic behavior. You sit here in a room with Brad for hours. He runs his mouth. This is not yesterday's business. This is today's business. A man who says he's going to do a thing and doesn't do it. Very poor manity. So fuck you, little cocksucker. Kick me from the room and be done with it. Platform the coward. Make all the excuses you like. You owe me money, bitch. You are a whiny little crybaby. Run your mouth. Run your mouth. That's all you can do.
You don't know what it's crying, bro. Hold on, can I just say...
Can I get context, please? Sorry.
Yes, but before you do, I just want to encourage, if there's any mental health professionals here, please raise your hand. Look to bring you to the stage. I don't necessarily need you to diagnose the problem that we just heard, but I'd like to personally understand it a little bit better so I can know how to better deal with certain people, because I want to meet them where they're at. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sorry, I couldn't speak, I was in the gym. I wanted to give context for what the bet was and how it evolved into this misunderstanding. There was a back and forth argument. It was talking about, I think, something military. Diogenes says that he served. Brad didn't believe him. And Diogenes went on, he was like, yes, I know how that operation would work, etc. I was a Marine, which I love my Marines. He's like, yeah, but you wouldn't know this. He's like, yeah, I served with SEAL Team 6. I did operations with SEAL Team 6 in this Asian country. And I'm thinking, okay, that doesn't make sense. So it then got misconstrued that Diogenes was on an active mission with SEAL Team 6, Brad called Cat, and then it turned out to be... I'm sorry, who are you? Who's talking? Excuse me.
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Who is the spineless little prick that interrupted somebody violating the precious rule number 5 of this house?
Didn't JB did the same thing.
Let's see. Okay, I'm moving you down. Listen, moderator privilege. Rule number 11, the moderator is always right. Go ahead, Keegan.
Okay, well, first of all, Keegan, you need to stop calling Brad a pedo. I put the link where you did it in the chat. It's very problematic to spread those type of lies. So that was the misunderstanding. So it wasn't that Brad was saying he never served as a Marine, because I told Brad from what he shared in that room, I asked him very specific questions, understanding how Westpac's work, which is the Marine Expeditionary Group that travels along and is either going to be on a Westpac or on one side of the world or the other. I know how it operates or whatever. If you're a Marine working on a ship, he said, well, yes, I would know because I work for SEAL Team 6. Brad's like, KK, how is that possible? I'm like, well, they put it on the ship, but they're not going to have them operate with them, because usually when they do those operations, they practice it ahead of time, and it doesn't involve the Marines on there. It actually, they might do intel ahead of time, but not with actual operations. So that's where it got misconstrued as far as Diogenes feeling like Brad was saying he was never Marine. I told Brad Diogenes was a Marine, and Brad's like, well, he was saying that he was doing this special operations with SEAL Team 6. I said, no, he's mistaken. They don't operate that capacity. What would probably happen is he
And it did come out that he was on a new ship, that Navy SEAL Team 6 was on, sleeping on the ship while they're in between missions or whatever, or on their way to. Understanding how the Navy Special Ops, the Navy SEALs operate, and how MU operates, and how Marines operate, they don't bloody those lines. So that's where Brad said, no, you did not operate this thing, and Diogenes thought he was saying, no, you were saying that I wasn't a Marine, which I told Brad over and over again, he was a Marine. I asked him questions, I was there for it, and that's where it turned into this long drawn out miscommunication. That's just what I wanted to share with the actual context.
Okay. So here's what I've heard. I've heard that there was a claim made. There was maybe some feeling that the claim was dishonest, and there was perhaps a wager made, and there's some confusion and disagreement over what the wager was. I think if that went into a courtroom without proper documentation of what the wager was, I think that Diogenes would probably lose. I'm no judge. I'm no prosecutor. I'm certainly not a defense attorney. All I can say is that it sounds like it would be a losing case for Diogenes. So we can move on. Should we settle other things? I want to just bring it back. That's why we're getting together. I think the tensions on this app have boiled over, and I think we could do better. I think in this season of Clubhouse, we should all strive to get along better, communicate with each other better, and that doesn't mean we can't have fun and poke fun and talk shit. I'm certainly not going to stop doing that. I'm going to continue to talk my shit. I'm just saying that maybe we could decide what we're going to talk shit over. Like, if somebody has an idea that I disagree with, maybe I can go in hard on that. Rather than talking about people's families, rather than talking about, personal information and trying to dox people, I think those types of things are harmful. I don't think that they have a place on this app. And I also understand that people have kept score and these things have happened in the past. I don't have a fucking time machine, and to my understanding, none of you do either. So we can't go back and fix any of the things in the past. All we can do is decide that we want to be better moving forward, and I propose that we start today.
So I can jump in.
That is such a great idea.
Again, I'll just say this. There's one person I do owe an apology to, and I'll get to that in a minute. But like I said, for all the fanboys of Sick Ass and Diogenes and all these other ones, show up. Like, you guys threatened it multiple times. Show up and see. But I think you guys, after 3 years, have proven you're cowards. There is a person that I owe a apology to. His name is Sig. I did wreck one of his rooms. I went after a bucktooth prognosticator of old women who was very much Christians save the world, Christians do all this stuff, and he's a very religious fellow who likes to hold the hands of old ladies trying to get their fortunes, and probably a little wonky in the age limit things, as we're well aware of, like various other organizations. So I called him out, and I did wreck his room, and Sig had to remove me, and I do owe Sig an apology, so there you go, Roger. There's your win for the day. I will apologize to Sig because I acted like an asshole, and that's it. As far as on stage, yeah, I'm good. Outside of you and maybe Nye, Steve, JB, nah, I don't owe anybody an apology. I think I'm good.
Well, that was boring as fuck.
No, we got some progress. Look, we have to take the baby steps. That was good. He offered an apology. I'm not sure if Sig has accepted. I have to look in the chat. It's all good, Brad. Still love you, bro. Salute with an American flag. This is what I'm talking about. We can bury grievances, and I don't want to pull any of these grievances up. I'm not going to dig up old dirt. All I have to say that is if it's on somebody's heart to apologize the way that Brad just did, this would be a perfect time to do it. Nobody, huh? All right. Okay, go back to killing each other.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Steve, welcome to the room.
Hi. I'm
Any haters? Any detractors?
Yes, I do have haters and detractors, but they're generally speaking 95%. There are other rooms that I go into. Occasionally, they come into my rooms on the weekend, but when they do, they're very respectful because I'm known as running my rooms with an iron fist. I never put a restriction on content, but when it comes to timelines and people speaking over each other, everybody knows I won't put up with that shit, and I'll clamp down on it within 5 seconds so they don't get away with it.
Well, there you go, ladies. If you want to get fisted, you can go to Steve's room.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I just threw up.
Steve, you may have to put like an anchor rope on you. I'm just gonna let you know you're gonna need like, you're gonna need crampons. You're gonna need. I mean, some of these women, man, I'm telling you, it's like throwing a Mack truck down a hallway. It's huge.
I was in here earlier about an hour ago after all the drama occurred, and I came in. I just asked if I could speak, and I said I had only been here for 5 minutes, and I simply asked the question, does Roger know what's going on? And then I spoke for about 5 minutes. I started to compare what was going on here to what happens in my room. I laid down a couple of facts in that one of the problems that I saw, because the issue of problems was brought up, is that the leaders in this house, in the MUF, don't always trust each other and don't always believe each other. And then I compared it to my mod squad on the weekends in that all of us have our cell phones. We don't air our dirty laundry in public, and we have a private text chat, not a clubhouse chat, but a text chat. And one person responded negatively. That person is here now. I won't say who it is. He or she can respond. And his response was...
Can you give us a clue?
Yes, that person is here on stage. Let me just verify. I'm not going to... Let me see if that person is still here. Yep, that person is still here. And
do they live west or east of the Mississippi?
Rather than say, well, yeah, Steve, that's true, or no, Steve, that's not true, the comment came back, well, you're just doing a comparison, and you're basically publicizing how wonderful you are. And what I didn't say at that time, but what I will say now, is that person I see in my room basically every weekend, and doesn't come to the stage, but sits in the audience and simply listens. So obviously he enjoys the way I run my rooms, yet in response to that comment, he basically was saying, well, you're just doing a PR for your room and you should stop doing it.
Stop what you was doing, Steve.
And now I'll be happy to say it was Hakima.
Wow. Can I just say, Hakima really ticked me off this week. I put up with all of his bullshit. Everything from flat earth to making a truth claim that the black people are indigenous to the United States of America. I put up with all of that nonsense. But yesterday, when he told me that he could swim faster than me, I'm calling cap. We have a contest. It's coming up. It's going to be in Chicago. We're all going to party in Chicago. We're going to join in Lady Hawk, a.k.a. the Amistad. We're going to have some boat drinks, and we're going to have a race.
It's called the Beer Can Race every Wednesday. I hope you'll join us. It's going to be a big clown house blowout summer soiree. All the girls are in bikinis.
And I'll just say this, a lot of rooms are popular because people yell, scream, insult, and talk over each other, and that's fine. And I'm the first one to say that I'm attracted to those rooms occasionally, but I would never run my room that way. But I'm the first one to admit I do frequent those rooms because I like to get that poison out once in a while, and I enjoy it. But I would never, ever run my room that way.
going to your room has to do with me calling you out about you trying to say that the leaders of this house don't get along and how great your mod squad is. Me going to your room, sitting there, wouldn't have nothing to do with that claim that I made. So I don't know why you bring it up. It's kind of silly of you. But
my statement.
May I finish? Can you
oh, sure.
Of the house? Thank you, sir. So my statement about what you were doing is exactly what you were doing, and you should grow up a little bit.
My statement that the leaders in this house don't all trust each other and don't all believe each other was made directly 2 minutes after the mods in this in the room were specifically saying, well, I want to do and say stuff, but the other leaders don't believe me. It was in response to directly that.
You heard one person say that about another mod, and them mods are not the leaders of the house. The leader of the house is Roger. And so I'm not sure who
Roger is the admin. Roger is the admin.
Can you follow the fucking rules, Steve? Can you follow the fucking rules?
If you're gonna lie, I'm gonna call you out on it. If you're gonna lie, I'm gonna call you out.
I said Roger is the leader of the house.
He's not the leader of the house. He's the admin. Is he or is he not the admin?
Who the leaders in, right?
Is he or is he not the admin?
Who the leaders, Steve?
I have no fucking idea, but I know Roger is the admin.
Why the fuck you make the statement for it? Why the fuck you make the statement about the leaders of the house if you don't know who the fuck the leaders are?
Because it was said 2 minutes before I made my statement.
You sound goofy.
Okay, so if we're gonna get specific here, go look at the membership here. Just want to make sure. Okay, what is the label I have here? So I created the house, and that gives me admin privileges. So I'm the creator of the house. The other admins of the house are Kelly, who is on vacation right now. The driver, my personal driver, he's not a good driver, but Dr. J, and then Ro, you guys might know him. He's the Australian guy with the nice hair. And then we have leaders in the house, which are Scarlett Noke, one of the most intriguing, lovely ladies of the app. We have Dippity, as I like to call her. We have Nye. And we have Ann Hero, because everyone needs a hero. And let me just say that I think Nye is probably the most neutral person that this app has ever produced. So when we have disputes, I would say just get Nye's opinion about things, because she's not going to sugarcoat shit. She's going to tell people exactly how it is. And what I've appreciated is every time I've ever seen drama in these houses, I can go to Nye and say, what happened? And she will give me a story that sounds like half of the truth that I got from one side and the other half of the truth that I got from the other side. It's amazing how she has the complete story. It's amazing.
And when I was making my comments in the room, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scarlett, who Roger just said was a leader in the house, was in the upper left. She was the super mod. There were also 2 other women. I think one of them, I could be wrong, is one of the 2 that Roger mentioned. And they were saying, at least one of them, if not 2, were saying, well, I want to do things, or I say things, but other people, other leaders don't believe me, which is why I made the comment. So, Hakima, as much as I respect what you're saying, and I've known you for years, your remarks to me, in my humble opinion, are completely unfounded.
No, that's just silly abuse. But I'm not. This is a petty little back and forth. It's not even worth going back. You might enjoy this, but you can have it.
I wasn't here when the drama occurred. I admitted I showed up after it occurred when I presume Scarlett took over when I came in. She was the super mod. I waited a couple of minutes. I was called on, and I admittedly said I've only been here for 5 minutes, but this is what I think based on what I've heard.
Yeah, 5 minutes make blanket statements about how she's been here for 5 minutes. Yeah, make it make sense. But you can have a childish conversation. You got it.
Guys, I have to
make a decision here, and it's tough with all this infighting and the events of earlier, but I'm about to eat lunch, and I need to have other moderators. Now, the thing I have to think about here with other moderators is I have to think, who do they have blocked? And what vendettas do they have? And are they going to move people? Are they going to weaponize this ability to be a mod? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hand, Nye, are you there?
I'm here, yep.
If you don't mind, it'll take me about 30 minutes to complete my lunch. I'm not having Mexican food today, so it'll be a little quicker. And I'm going to go ahead and mod Nye. And if you accept, do you accept?
Sure, yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. I will be on the stage, but I will be unable to participate. Everyone, please respect Nye. I will say this. If people get unruly and I hear about it later, I am not going to be happy. You're going to get a very cranky version of Mojo. So, Nye, you have it. I'll be back in about 30 minutes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I did not participate in the poll at the top. Does Brad owe money? Because I don't know anything about that. But if y'all want to vote, there it is. And other than that, I prefer not to talk about the drama unless there are grievances that people still need to air out. The mic is open. Please keep it peaceful. Shout out to John. I love being part of your PTR social experiment. Keegan, I saw you coming off mic. Go ahead, Keegan.
Yeah, so Nye, as part of the leadership for the House, as Mojo told us that you are, do you guys hold different standards towards different speakers? Because I've heard multiple people interrupt, but when I interrupted, I was kicked out.
What are you talking about?
Listen, I'm just asking the rules of the room, which I did not know there were rules until, of course, Mojo read it out loud, and then I read them as well. And I said, oh, okay, number 5 is you should not interrupt speakers. But Steve Denny said, well, I can't hear someone lie. I must speak the truth. I thought I was doing the same, of course, when KK came up and lied about the bet that I was in the room for, and that's not what happened. And most people that tried to agree. But also I saw JB interrupt, and again, these people were not kicked out. I was kicked out.
When did I interrupt?
You interrupted Diogenes when he was going on his little rant. And then again, Steve interrupted Akeem. So my question is there different standards for different speakers?
Well,
yes, there is. I'm sorry. I've got my mouth full, but I want to answer this one directly. Yes, there is. We prioritize kindness, we prioritize intelligence, and we prioritize beauty. Thank you.
Are you saying that I'm not beautiful, Mojo?
You're probably on the bottom curve of all 3.
I think it's also important to note, Keegan, and first of all, when you were in the room earlier talking to Brad, I didn't even realize that was you. I recognized the voice, but I couldn't figure out who it was until later on someone said Theo was Keegan. I think it's also important to note that not just in this room, but any room you go into, if there's multiple moderators, everybody's opinion is their own. If people have grievances with other people on the app, it doesn't mean that all the mods feel the same way about that individual. And that kind of concerns me because of some of the messages I get in the back end about why are you there and why do you talk to this person and this, that, and the other. And so I think we all should remember that, especially the room earlier when it got crazy. There was, a lot of insults hurled at the women on the stage, like we're all a monolith. And, I just hope going forward that we can appreciate the fact that everybody's opinion is their own opinion. And if one speaker may have an issue with, if one mod has an issue with certain speakers, the rest of us, it's right, Sid, we don't all feel the same way. And notice, you guys, if you are in rooms that I'm modded in, when folks on the stage start talking shit about some of you nuts, I don't say a word. There's only been one person that I have both verbally stated their name. I'm not going to say it in this room. I've said it too many times. This person who's harassed me on this app. And other than that, I don't have problems with anybody, especially people who hit me up in the back end saying this person is a racist and that and the other. I don't actually give an F, right? So let's move on. Peace in the Middle East. If we're allowed to say that, maybe not. I take that back. I don't want no smoke. The mic is open. Does anybody else have any grievances they want to air out?
I have a grievance with you.
my e-boo, but go ahead. I'm listening.
I got no grievances. I think you're the greatest person on this app, sincerely.
Yeah, I don't have any grievances with you, JB. I absolutely adore JB, and I've told JB that one of the things I like about him is sometimes he'll pop in a room, curse somebody out, and then just bounce. I mean, if that's not leading character energy, I don't know what is. Shout out to all the leading characters. Go ahead, Holly.
No, I just came off my laugh because I'm driving. I can't see my emoji.
You know, I will say that I think Brad taught everyone a very important lesson today. That there's a lot of information that has been passed between each other on this app, and you know, if you were to just listen to the sound clips or the sound bites of the most toxic communication, not from today, but I'm talking over the 5 years, and you were just to listen to it, you could still forget it and come to peace. But it is a roast app in many ways. It's like the Johnny Carson roast, or the Dean Martin roast. If you think that you are not guilty or worthy of being roasted, well, then you're definitely worthy of being roasted. But again, in the process of roasting others, you can roast yourself sometimes. And I believe that self-deprecation is an important tool to essentially reflect, but it shows intelligence if you're willing to be roasted and let it go, and it shows intelligence if you're willing to roast other people, and it's really intelligent if you're willing to roast yourself, because this is all just short-term dopamine, for a long-term problem, which is wisdom. And that's why I am encouraging you to all join us after Roger's delicious lunch in the book club, where in the muff we will continue reading an ancient Chinese philosophical classic called the Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu over 2,800 or 2,300 years ago. And I hope that team building experience, reading what's called a book or an external hard drive instead of having meaningless, endless, heated discourse, a book might be just what you're looking for.
And we read some of it yesterday, and it was a great read. I encourage those with tensions and grief, and you kind of maybe, I say this very delicately, not directed to anybody in the room, but if you find yourself navigating this app and you're stuck on stupid at times, come to the reading today. I think you will find it quite healing. JB, go ahead.
I was just going to say, no, I just want to let you know that Sig and I are now going to be taking applications and vet potential husbands for you.
Oh, thank you. I definitely trust Sig and JB's opinion about who the perfect guy for me should be. Shout out Tebow. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to these potentials. Now, hold on. I got to say something to Brad. Brad, are you there? Because Mojo said something earlier, and it got me to thinking, and I'm like, okay. So let me say something to Brad. When Mojo was like, what did he say? When he was using examples about people saying, I feel. So Brad, I apologize to you, because I said twice some variation of I feel. You should not argue with women, and perhaps I should not have said that, right? I think because of the opinion I have of you, which is, I like Brad, it was probably not my place to tell a man how he shouldn't have, dole out his energy on Clubhouse. So I apologize for telling you, Brad, don't argue with women, because it's not a good look, because clearly, even though I felt like I should say that, in hindsight, perhaps not. So I apologize, sir.
You didn't owe me an apology, and I'm not a cuddly guy. I don't really fucking care. Like, you've not offended me or pissed me off, and if we have clashed, it's there. I've clashed with Roger. I've clashed with a lot of people. I don't fucking care. It's not memorable. Except for, like, in the cases of, like, the Keegans of the world. The guys that want to get up there and call women hoes. I mean, I can't wait to hear the stories about how, held and cuckolds are, all of a sudden fighting for masculinity in the world as their wives are getting, like, choked on dick. So, I mean, I have no problem going low with anybody. Like I said, Diogenes, again, and nothing. He's broke, but clearly. He said he was going to come up, he was going to bring a gun, and he was going to face me.
my door. Come up. I offered a place where he could land, both in Minnesota and fucking Texas. And the motherfucker still didn't show up, and he was going to bring his posse, quote, his crew, to come at me. Still didn't show up. I don't fucking care, because you know why? You guys are pussies and you're afraid. You don't have spines. Let's see. Going forward, Monica's and the Ant don't really fucking care, because I was actually friends with Ant. I was nice to Ant. I was the one who used to protect Ant. I was the one that offered my house, my land, to offer to build her a safe space when people were trying to, quote, kidnap and rape her kid on this app, or at least threatening her, or at least that was the story that was relayed to me. And then she decided to use that as a mockery because I offered her a safe haven. She's never apologized for that. She doubled down on it, and then she made a room about it to gain clout in her feelings. And then that fucking Oompa Loompa next to her, Monica, who's just a racist piece of shit that's just like a fucking trailer trash Roseanne Barr version.
Okay, wait, hold on. Wait, no low blows, Brad.
Oh, okay, I won't go low. I will not go as low as her fupa. I promise that. I will stop going low like that. So again, like I did that. I know what, there was a woman on this app who was getting stalked. The guy broke into her house. There was a couple women. I showed up at their doors. I put one of my knives through the hood of his fucking car and said if you came at her again, you were going to feel it. I made another one so scared he pissed himself and he left the woman alone. And so I have no problem doing that. I've done it multiple times. I've helped out people financially. Diogenes asked for $1,000. I know he's broke, but you know what? I don't really feel like giving him $1,000. He wants to show up and try to take it. Go ahead. But you know what? I have helped people out to the tunes of thousands of dollars, like tens of thousands of dollars on this app. I paid off entire mortgages, rental leases, fixed cars, paid fucking utilities, paid college loans, paid medical bills. In fact, I owe KK a fucking shit ton of money because I'm supposed to match every dollar that I give out to that. But I will never give one dime, one penny to Diogenes because he's a cuck, like Keegan. These two are cucks. So I'll just play that game back and forth and just laugh. And so who else wants to go? And I said, I don't need the bubble wrap. Everybody else needs the bubble wrap for me. So that should tell you that if you're all afraid and you're all nervous and you all think, oh, I don't want my feelings hurt, maybe you shouldn't throw stones from your glass fucking houses. Or I should say, your cavernous vaginas, since that seems to be the majority of what you feckless feelers seem to have.
Thank you, Brad, for your very poetic submission. Scarlett? I see Scarlett. Monica's off mic. I don't know if you want to speak, Monica. Go ahead. I think Monica's on a speaking strike, but she might be at work. But go ahead. Guys, this is not an official rule. This is just a NIE rule. Not that my rules matter in the house, because the official rules matter. But I almost feel like a subcategory should be no white-on-white violence in the month. Please. Brad, thank you. Mic is open.
No, wait. Can you say that again? I did not understand. You said no white-on-white violence?
No white-on-white violence.
So Anne has stated that she is not white because she made up some genealogical trait that she's now Lebanese. So she no longer considers herself white. So it's very fine to attack the walking hate crime between her legs and her actions.
Okay, wait. Guys, I'm sorry why I think Brad is hilarious. And I know I shouldn't laugh at things he says because it's outrageous. Brad, you're hilarious. Okay. Next, go ahead, Keegan. I see you're off mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, my name was mentioned, so I do want to address something, which is that Bradley does like to act very stoic on the set, right? I'm here to protect women, you know, and that's noble of him, of course. He says that, listen, when people are attacking and threatening Anne's children, he came on her defense because, of course, Brad thinks that threatening children is a bad thing on this app. Did he say that he was going to rape my daughter, who is 2.5 years old? Yes. But that doesn't matter because Brad loves children. Does he love them a little bit too much, in my opinion? Maybe, based off of his own words. But it's just really interesting. Again, the stoicism that Brad decides to display, but then when he goes in other rooms, of course, he does not display that stoicism the same way. So that's all I have to say.
Great, so now I can respond to the guy whose wife's in Africa on a missionary work while she's learning all sorts of new 6
months while he can't even babysit his own daughter, since you wanted to lay down some low blow shit. And here is the correct statement that I stated, you little fucking spineless fucking worm who can't even keep your wife happy with your own little tiny penis. She's got to go over there and get some booty jungle juice in her system. Since you raised this piece of shit, your wife's gonna suck more black dick and then come home and kiss you with that mouth. How's that make it feel?
Not too much on the BBC. Not too much on the BBC.
Alright, so I'll stop there. So here's what happened. So Keegan does have a child, and he bragged about it, and he threw some shade at my kids and all that stuff. And I said, Keegan, don't worry, we'll send you the OnlyFans links of your fucking daughter when she turns 18. Apparently, Keegan thinks that's his little version and tit for tat of that. But this motherfucker walked around and said, well, he said all sorts of shit to KK and several other women. And he thinks he owns it. But Keegan, again, your wife is getting gangbanged by a whole bunch of African guys and other priests and missionaries. Your wife's not studying to get God's help. She's in the missionary position just with 12 cocks on top of her. She's getting fucking doubled. She's getting double pegged. She's taking 2 in the mouth, 1 in the ass, and 1 up the vagina. And you know what? I'm laughing at this shit because you aren't even raising your own kid while she's getting all this dick. Your fucking wife's parents are. So you can't even be trusted competently to manage your kid, your wife, or anything in your household. You cockhole. Like, that's all you are. You have no place in masculinity. And I, for one, never would have fucking sat on a stage talking about masculinity and then in the same fucking breath said my wife is going to do missionary work in Africa for 6 months. I never would have fucking even thought to say something as stupid as that. But your ass did. Your ass got up there and went ahead and did it. So please, when your wife comes back and leaves you because you're pathetic, weak, and you're a Walmart oil change sales rep, and she's like, I'm done with you. I found out what real dick feels like. I found out what real men are. She goes and finds a real man. Don't cry on the stage about how all fucking women are hoes. Because quite frankly, you just can't stack up. I mean, again, you're just a feckless little boy who cries for mommy and daddy to bail him out. Because you can never be a man. I get it. I feel bad for you. Maybe you should turn gay. Maybe you should stay sucking Diogenes' dick.
Okay, hold on. I have to chime in. Keegan, would you like to respond to these claims that your wife is getting digged down by the Africans?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, what Bradley, of course, is saying is not true, and he, of course, wants to show any evidence he can. Now, Bradley is claiming, though, that he never said those things about my daughter. I'm deciding right now, at 3 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Time, Standard Time, I will be hosting the recording of Brad saying that he would like to have sex with my daughter. I'm sorry, I don't want to advertise my own room, Mojo. Of course, I'm not trying to do that.
Dio, hold on.
Go ahead.
You guys are interrupting my fucking lunch. I'm gonna get cranky here. I'm not comfortable with what you or Brad is doing here. You guys should leave the families out of it. You guys should quit trying to dox each other. You guys should just get a little bit more mature about this. Look, Dio, I think anybody that's ever been on the app that knows you knows what a piece of just shit you are. But nobody should be talking about your family. I don't know if that's true. I don't care if that's true. The bottom line is, you're not going to bring that shit into this room because that would be violating rule number 9. Thank you.
I completely agree.
Running right now. There's a poll running right now.
Wait, hold on.
I have the proof. I have the proof. I brought the proof.
Hold on. So we're gonna move on from the family slurs and the wife drama.
Of course.
So let's just leave. We're done.
Well, real quick though. Again, I did not. Brad brought my name up. I did not bring his name up. Right. Again, I was not on stage doing that. Brad brought my name up. Said that my wife was, of course, having sex in Africa. I never brought up his daughters in any recordings whatsoever. I never have. I never brought up Brad's family. Again, Brad has, not me. But this is what we do. I think that sometimes we play this game where we say, listen, what Brad is doing, everyone does. Well, no, Bradley does something completely different than most of us, which he does threaten us physically and threaten violence upon our families. But then again, tries to play this weird. And Mojo, I know that maybe my opinions that I hold on certain subjects you maybe disagree with, but again, I don't feel like I've treated you or Nye or even other people on this app the way that Bradley, even just now, kind of had shown you. Again, I'm just calling out the bad versions of us as individuals. We show each other the worst versions of ourselves at times, right? And Bradley shows the worst version of himself consistently over and over again. And one of those times, yes, it was the threat of sexual violence upon my child, who is 2.5 years old. It was not about her joining OnlyFans. It was truly about him having sex with her in a way that was gruesome and violent and terrible. So I wish Bradley would apologize, of course. Again, Bradley, you know I've never spoken about your
Hey, I think you're in the matrix a little bit. Here's the thing, though, Keegan. You're in the matrix a little bit. Hold on, let me just say something really quick. Oh, you could hear us, so it's just me? Yeah. Keegan, if you didn't land, go ahead and land.
Yeah, here's my final thought, which is that, again, let us enjoy the troll aspect of this app. I do enjoy it. But at the same time, if individuals want to claim masculinity or stoicism or some form of version of that, they should be held to the standard that they consider themselves
cut the NDAA by $400 billion per year and bring down our national defense budget to $600 billion a year.
Said, I came and protected you, Ann, because I know that that's wrong. But then he did it to me, so he doesn't actually hold any form of virtue because he breaks the rules whenever he sees fit. It's not a man of his word. That's what Dion also probably would bring up as well. So that's all I have to say, and I appreciate this message. Again, let's not get upset. It's sad, and it hurts. It really does hurt.
Yeah, leave people's kids out of it. Okay, wait, now Dianaji, is that how we say your name? Dianaji?
However you like.
I'm just gonna call you D. Here's the thing. We don't want to fight, D, so if you want to fight with Brad, can we not do that right now?
No, I don't want to fight either, and I honestly, the only time that it has ever become a fight and not a discussion is as Dio, the one above me, was just saying, when you put Brad into a position where he has to face the things that he said, he gets triggered in the most, typical way and begins to say very out of pocket, aggressive and disrespectful things. He brings wives, children, friends, family. He brings everything in there, and you don't have to say anything about anything else. He's going to do it. And why? Because he's angry. I wanted to bring the proof. This is one of many recordings that exist of Brad where he is absolutely unrestrained and threatening to kill, threatening to beat, threatening to rape. I mean, and we're not talking about saying, I'm going to fuck you up. We're talking about, I'm going to put my penis in your asshole. So, and I want to be clear. I don't want to fight. I want to agree with Keegan's sentiment here. And what I had hoped when I first came onto the application is that this would be a good place to share ideas and meet people. And while we do appreciate, some of us have things to lose. Some of us have situations where we don't trust others because if we expressed ourselves, they would try to cancel us or hurt us in some way. Brad proves the reason for that. I would hope that we could be people who do what we say we're going to do. And I would like to be held to that standard. I've apologized to people on this application because I wanted to be held to that standard. I've come into this room and apologized to people that I was upset with because I want to be held to that standard. And so all I'm asking is that we consider the facts. And the facts are, Brad did wager. Brad did lose the wager. And he should pay that money. He should be held to pay. He should be held to his word. I want to be held to my word. Sometimes I fail, and the people around me have to remind me. And sometimes I try to run from my duties and my obligations. But I'm less of a man when I do that. And I shouldn't respond with anger. And I shouldn't respond by losing my temper. I do like to lose my temper performatively because I think it's funny, but it's not because I want to fight. And at the end of the day, if anyone wants proof of my military service, if that's the difference for you, let's go ahead and arrange that. At no point in any of the insane, vulgar, and unhinged ramblings that issued from Bradley Did I not entertain every proposition he made for collecting the debt that he owed me? And even offered him on multiple occasions monetarily
You
free
need some
ways.
new material, Diogenes.
I don't need any new material. All right? I offered him multiple opportunities to get off that highway he'd gotten himself onto by running his mouth. I said, listen, Brad, if you don't have the money, you don't want to pay the money, there's some concern there. How about you just issue an apology? And then you know what he did when
Don't quit your day job.
He said, fuck you. He said he engaged in vulgarities. He engaged in profanities. He engaged in graphic descriptions of the ways he wanted to hurt me. He wanted to hurt my wife. He wanted to hurt my loved ones. He wanted to hurt people that I cared about.
Hold on, one mic. Listen,
all right.
I just hate that we can't have a clubhouse duel. I hate that we can't have a clubhouse duel between these men who are at war, and then we can bet on who would emerge.
I agree. And I have
This is a ridiculous waste of time.
I have told Bradley, the original proposition, when Brad said that he would not pay the money, the original proposition was made that we should have a match where we have a sanctioned fight so that neither party can claim that they were being assaulted or battered under the state laws because they don't provide for mutual combat regardless. The only way to fight is to have sanctioned fights at gyms. I said we should do that. We can actually settle this. Since you want to hurt me.
Diogenes, hold on. The city of Seattle, which is not far from where I live, actually does allow for mutual combat. So if you guys want to come to Seattle, we can videotape it and we can stream it. What do you guys think?
Okay, I'll try to plan that, but I'm going to stick to what did happen, which is that he told us where he was. I told everyone where I was. We saw the halfway point was somewhere in Tennessee, and we agreed that would be fair. That if the issue for Brad was that he didn't want to pay his debt unless he had an opportunity to physically hurt me, that I would provide that in a sanctioned environment, but he would have to agree that he would sign the documents agreeing that he did make the bet, he did have to pay me the money, and then I would happily engage in consensual combat with him, sanctioned in a way that neither of us could claim that either party assaulted or battered the other person or attacked them or anything like that. And again, I see Sig, running his fucking mouth in the chat. Guess what, Sig? Brad doesn't do what he says he's going to do. So it'll be a cold day in hell before the man who ran his mouth and bet me money he won't pay me tells me he's not going to assault me, or he tells me he's not going to cry to the police if he gets the bad end of that fight, because he absolutely is untrustworthy. All right? So I have something to lose. Brad probably comes onto the application and runs his mouth because he has nothing to lose. Because there's no one that loves him, that relies on him, that depends on him for being brought up and taught the ways of the world. He just runs his fucking mouth because no one would care if he died in an alley somewhere in a fight with some stranger he met on the internet over $1,000. Shut your mouth, JB.
Shut your mouth. Okay, okay. Here we go.
Thank you for the thing. Thank you for the opportunity.
Here's what I would like to know, ladies and gentlemen. I just have one question. If anybody can honestly just help me understand, why do we go into rooms and spaces and stages with people we don't like? If you don't like certain speakers and certain personalities, why don't you just block them? Why do you engage with them? Why do you come into their rooms? Why do you open private rooms to talk shit about them? Can somebody help me understand why y'all entertain and interact with people you don't like and go on stages and fight with them?
Yes, it's because only somebody who makes you feel uncomfortable in your own skin can make you a better person.
Well, that's kind of half.
Thank you, Yogi. Yeah, Steve.
Hold on. I'm going to jump in, Steve, real quick. I just wanted to let everyone know that at 4:20 Eastern Time, which we're approaching, we're going to read. It's going to be a book reading. And what I'm going to do is keep people on the stage that want to participate in the book reading. Who's doing the thumbs down? Who did that? Don't let me catch you. No, I'm promoting the book reading. It's weird. We're going to read. I understand that not everybody on this stage is a book reader, but as John likes to say, it is the oldest and the best external hard drive. It's a word called books, and we're going to continue reading from this book. It's a good book. It was fun reading through it.
Some of you that were reading were on the stage. They're on the stage today. We welcome everyone that wants to participate. You will be called upon to read out loud, but everyone's welcome to participate. You will not be able to interrupt, though. It's going to be a different type of room. It's going to start at 4:20 Eastern Standard Time. And if you or John, if you guys want to post in the chat or up above, you can get the reading material. And correct me if I'm wrong. We left off on verse 49. Is that correct?
Ooh, I thought it was lower than that. John?
No, it was about that. It was right up in there.
I think we left off on verse 49. I remember feeling a particular kind of way because it wasn't exactly 50. So it was either 48 or 49. Anyhow. All right. Hopefully you guys are feeling better. Got a little anxiety out of the system, you know. I welcome you guys to come and read. Steve, I hope you could stick around for the book reading. I think your voice would be great in reading out loud. That would be amazing. Holly, I believe you know how to read. Jebediah, you've heard of books. You're welcome to stay. Yeah, you're all welcome to stay. You're all welcome to participate.
Yeah, it's called the Tao Te Ching, written over 2,300 years ago. It's the second most translated book in human history. You're gonna love it. If you've never experienced the Tao, you can become the Tao by reading the book about the Tao. Instead of arguing endlessly about things and having heated discourse and road raging all the time on this app, try to read a book. You might like the experience.
Oh, and by the way, we will be doing a, what do we call it? Rational discussion group. That'll start right after the book reading. We will be opening a room. 1:50 is when we open the room, but we begin at 2 o'clock Pacific time. That's 5 o'clock Eastern for those that need the conversion. Thank you.
You know, I will say...
If anybody's joining, John, sorry, I just want to let them know that I added the PDF link at the top. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, you've experienced Clown House up until now, but until you read a book with other people on this stage and you actually create something together, you really have no common bonds or desire to even like each other, but at least you can remember that experience of reading the Tao Te Ching with that person and, you know, educating yourself. So, in retrospect, when you ask yourself if it was worth it to be here for 5 years arguing and screaming and raising your blood pressure versus reading a book, you may realize that you are your own worst enemy. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I am complete.
Hey, in the effort to piss Roger off, everybody in the room who don't know me and Roger will be racing in the swim match. I'm beating really bad. But if no one believes it, please show up and bring your money. So y'all can be shocked, just like Roger will be shocked and dismayed.
I will be wearing a onesie bathing suit for this event.
I might lose, Nancy. I just might lose when you come in a fucking onesie bathing suit.
What's the problem with Speedo? Are they out? They're not popular anymore?
I will say this about Akima, my personal experience, when he loses a bet, he pays up immediately.
Thanks for telling everybody you beat me in the bet, Steve, but thanks for vouching for me.
I didn't say what the bet was or what I won. No problem. You mess with me anytime you want.
Just for the record, I bet it on Kamala, you bet it on Trump. I lost. Clearly I lost.
Oh, I hate that you made that bet. It was so obvious she was going to lose. But God,
Well, to be specific, it would be that Trump would win by more than 100 electoral votes. That was the bet, and I won.
That wasn't the bet, Steve. The bet was just a straight up bet. You probably made it with somebody else. No, it was a straight up victory.
I'll take your word for it. And also, it would be remiss of me to say that the other person I had a bet with was JB. I won't say what the bet was, but he lost and he paid me immediately also.
Well, I lost to you and Anthony.
to bet anyone that would take the bet, predicting that Trump was going to win. And the 3 different people took that bet, and all 3 of those people paid up. They didn't pay me cash. They all donated to my favorite charity, and they gave me a screenshot to prove it. So some people do pay the bets.
So I PTR, I updated my profile. That's the 49th verse in this 150-page document of the Tao Te Ching that we will be reading from in 8 minutes.
Yeah, and for those of you that are not familiar, and Hanson, welcome. After the book reading, immediately following the book reading, we'll be opening a separate room in the Rational Discussion Group. And we don't even have the title yet, although we've kind of noodled around the topic. I will be sending private messages to those involved in the Rational Discussion Group. So Anson, please check your back channel soon. And so just stick around. We're going to have programming all day.
With a cast of characters, no doubt.
That's why I came in. I couldn't figure out what was going on with the 4 o'clock rational thinking room. So I'll hang around and see what happens.
Yep, you got it. We're going to do a little book reading here in about 7 minutes, and then that'll flow right into the Rational Discussion Group. And for those that don't know, the Rational Discussion Group, we open the room at 1:50 Pacific time. And the reason we do that is we want to allow people to get in there, so then we can open the room and have a discussion that starts at 2 o'clock sharp Pacific time. And we leave the chat open, unlike some discussion groups. Thank you.
What are we reading today before the rational thinking room?
Oh, John, this is your territory.
So if you click the link above, you will get a PDF, and it's called the Tao Te Ching. It's written by Lao Tzu in ancient China. It's about governance, philosophy, psychology, wisdom, mysticism, philosophy. I think you're going to love it if you've never heard it or read from it. It's the 2nd most translated book in human history.
Yeah, there were some interesting takeaways from yesterday's reading. Hopefully we get a similar crowd that we can build upon. And when we're done with this book, we'll pick new books. The 2nd book that we'll be doing is The Art of War. So we're gonna get to a lot of things. Eventually, we'll get to Twilight. We're noodling on the idea of reading out loud Huck Finn, just to challenge the sensibilities of certain people. But yeah, we're gonna be reading a lot of things.
John, do you already have a curated list of books you want to go through on Clown House?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of anything here. I would love to see, a room dedicated to actually just reading one book.
I would love to get us to all read Common Sense by Thomas Paine. It's a very short read, but it's a very important read. It's quite literally what led to the revolution. I don't know why Bhima would give me the fire. Thomas Paine was the one that started the revolution that led to the United States of America. And as an anarchist, I can't believe that you're in support of that, but it's okay. All right, people. Who's going to be reading? Because if you're not going to read, I'm going to gently move you to the audience. If you plan on participating in the reading material can be found up above in the link. All you have to do is click on it. We will start. John kicks us off. He will read 5 verses, and then we will go to the next reader. and we will do this for 30 minutes, and then we have to jump over to another room. So we'll do 30 minutes of reading, starting in about 3 minutes. John will get us started on verse 49. And again, anyone that wants to participate, feel free. We're losing people that don't like to read. Okay. Hopefully the people that are... Listen, if I call on you and you don't read, it's going to be hell to pay. We do not need that kind of noise up in here. Let's see. Holly, you're in for reading? Holly?
Yeah, sure, I'll read.
Okay. Myth, do you know how to read? Myth, do you know how to read? Myth going once, myth going twice, myth going to the audience. Dima, I don't know if you do read a lot, but you know how to read, right?
I don't have any comprehension skills, but I can read words. I know how to sound them out.
Perfect. No, that'll work. You'll fit in perfect. Angel, you're a reader, correct? Angel, don't disappoint me, girl. Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. I was talking to somebody else. I was listening, but I really wasn't listening. Sorry. I'll talk to you.
Are you gonna help us read today?
Yeah, I'm off at 5. What time? You said this starts at 4:30 or in 2 minutes?
We're gonna be reading in 2 minutes, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I could do a little bit here and there.
Okay, perfect. And Hakima is a reader. Brad, you're gonna stick around and read? Bradley?
Sure. What do you want me to read? The link at the top?
Link at the top. We're gonna start in 2 minutes. John's gonna kick. The verse is 49 that we will be starting with. John, actually, just so we can keep it symmetrical, can you read the first 6 and then everybody else will read 5? That way, so just take us from 49 to 55, and then we'll pick up, and we'll do it in PTR order. Got about 1 minute left. Perfect. Glad people are sticking around. Again, if anybody wants to get up here and read, that would be great. All right. John, go ahead. Take it away, sir.
Okay, so I like to, think about this as like a meditation. So, take the deepest breath of the day. Hold it for 10 seconds. This is the 49th Tao. The master has no mind of her own. She works with the mind of the people. She is good to people who are good. She is also good to people who aren't good. This is true goodness. She trusts people who are trustworthy. She also trusts people who aren't trustworthy. This is true trust. The master's mind is like space. People don't understand her. They look to her and wait. She treats them like her own children. The master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. He knows that he is going to die, and he has nothing left to hold on to. No illusions in his mind, no resistances in his body. He doesn't think about his actions. They flow from the core of his being. He holds nothing back in life. Therefore, he is ready for death, as a man is ready for sleep after a good day's work. Every being in the universe is an expression of the Tao. It springs into existence, unconscious, perfect, free, takes on a physical body. Let circumstances complete it. That is why every being spontaneously honors the Tao. The Tao gives birth to all beings, nourishes them, maintains them, cares for them, comforts them, protects them, takes them back to itself, creating without possessing, acting without expecting, guiding without interfering. That is why love of the Tao is in the very nature of things. In the beginning was the Tao. All things issue from it. All things return to it. To find the origin, trace back to the manifestations. When you recognize the children and find the mother, you will be free of sorrow. If you close your mind in judgments and traffic with desires, your heart will be troubled. If you keep your mind from judging and aren't led by the senses, your heart will find peace. Seeing into darkness is clarity. Knowing how to yield is strength. Use your own light and return to the source of light. This is called practicing eternity. The great way is easy, yet people prefer the side paths. Be aware when things are out of balance. Stay centered within the Tao. When rich speculators prosper, while farmers lose their land, when government officials spend money on weapons instead of cures, when the upper class is extravagant and irresponsible, while the poor have nowhere to turn, all this is robbery and chaos. It is not in keeping with the Tao. Whoever is planted in the Tao will not be rooted up. Whoever embraces the Tao will not slip away. Her name will be held in honor from generation to generation. Let the Tao be present in your life, and you will become genuine. Let it be present in your family, and your family will flourish. Let it be present in your country, and your country will be an example to all countries in the world. Let it be present in the universe, and the universe will sing. How do I know this is true? By looking inside myself. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It doesn't know about the union of male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power. It can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So complete is its harmony. The Master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly, without desire. He never expects results, thus he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old.
All right, that was good. That was good. I'm gonna go. It's like it started 56, I believe. Let me get there. Hold on. When I unmuted myself, I clicked myself out of the link. Sorry for the delay, guys. Okay. Those who know do not talk. Those who talk don't know. Close your mouth. Block off your senses. Blunt your sharpness. Untie your knots. Soften your glare. Settle your dust. This is the primal identity. Be like the Tao. It can't be approached or withdrawn from. Benefited or harmed. Honored or brought into disgrace. It gives itself up continually. That is why it endures. If you want to be a great leader, you must learn to follow the Tao. Stop trying to control. Let go of fixed plans and concepts, and the world will govern itself. The more prohibitions you have, the less virtuous people will be. The more weapons you have, the less secure people will be. The more subsidies you have, the less self-reliant people will be. Therefore, the Master says, I let go of the law, and people become honest. I let go of economics, and people become prosperous. I let go of religion, and people become serene. I let go of all desires for the common good, and the good becomes common as grass. If a country is governed with tolerance, the people are comfortable and honest. If a country is governed with repression, the people are depressed and crafty. When the will to power is in charge, the higher the ideals, the lower the results. Try to make people happy, and you lay the groundwork for misery. Try to make people moral, and you lay the groundwork for vice. Thus the Master is content to serve as an example, and not to impose her will. She is pointed, but doesn't pierce, straightforward, but supple, radiant, but easy on the eyes. For governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation. The mark of a moderate man is the freedom from his own ideas, tolerant like the sky, all-pervading like the sunlight, firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind. He has no destination in view and makes use of anything. Life happens to bring his way. Nothing is impossible for him because he is letting go. He can care for the people's welfare as a mother cares for a child. Governing a large country is a small fish. You spoil it with too much poking. Center your country in the Tao, and evil will have no power. Not that it isn't there, but you'll be able to step out of its way. Give evil nothing to oppose, and it will disappear by itself. I'll stop there, and we'll start, Nye, if you could start at 61.
Okay, when a country obtains great power, it becomes like the sea. All streams run downward into it. The more powerful it grows, the greater the need for humility. Humility means trusting the Tao, thus never needing to be defensive. A great nation is like a great man. When he makes a mistake, he realizes it. Having realized it, he admits it. Having admitted it, he corrects it. He considers those who point out his flaws as the most benevolent teachers. He thinks of his enemy as the shadow that he himself casts. If a nation is centered in the Tao, if a nation is centered in the Tao, if it nourishes its own people, hold on, I gotta scroll down, and doesn't meddle in the affairs of others, it will be a light to all nations in the world. 62. The Tao is the center of the universe, the good man's treasure, the bad man's refuge. Honors can be bought with fine words, respect can be won with good deeds, but the Tao is beyond all value, and no one can achieve it. Thus, when a new leader is chosen, don't offer to help him with your wealth or your expertise. Offer instead to teach him about the Tao. Why did the ancient masters esteem the Tao? Because being one with the Tao, when you seek, you find, and when you make a mistake, you are forgiven. That is why everybody loves it. Act without doing, work without effort. Think of the small as large and the few as many. Confront the difficult while it is still easy. Accomplish the great task by a series of small acts. The master never reaches for the great. Thus, she achieves greatness. When she runs into difficulty, she stops and gives herself to it. She doesn't cling to her own comfort. Thus, problems are no problem for her. 64. What is rooted is easy to nourish. What is recent is easy to correct. What is brittle is easy to break. What is small is easy to scatter. Prevent trouble before it arises. Put things in order before they exist. The giant pine tree grows from a tiny sprout. The journey of 1,000 miles starts from beneath your feet. Rushing into action, you fail. Trying to grasp things, you lose them. Forcing a project to completion, you ruin what was almost ripe. Therefore, the master takes action by letting things take their course. He remains as calm at the end as at the beginning. He has nothing, thus has nothing to lose. What he desires is non-desire. What he learns is to unlearn. He simply reminds people of who they have always been. He cares about nothing but the Tao. Thus, he can care for all things. 65. The ancient masters didn't try to educate the people, but kindly taught them to not know. When they think that they know the answers, people are difficult to guide. When they know that they don't know, people can find their own way. If you want to learn how to govern, avoid being clever or rich. The simplest pattern is the clearest. Content with an ordinary life, you can show all people the way back to their own true nature.
Awesome. Brad, you want to jump in at 66?
Give me a second here. What do you want me to read? Chapter 66? All right, here we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it power. If you want to govern people, you must place yourself below them. If you want to lead the people, you must learn how to follow them. The master is above the people, and no one feels oppressed. She is ahead of the people, and no one feels manipulated. The whole world is grateful to her because she competes with no one. Because she competes with no one can compete with her. Did you need me to go on?
Yes, please. If you could read to number 70, that would be great.
Oh, shit. All right. Wow. treasures. Simple in actions and in thoughts, you return to the source of being, patient with both friends and enemies. You accord with the way things are, compassionate toward yourself. You reconcile all beings in the world. The best athlete wants his opponent to at his best. The best general enters the mind of his enemy. The best businessman serves the communal good. The best leader follows the will of the people. All of them embody the virtue of non-competition. Not that they don't love to compete, but they do it in the spirit of play. In this, they are like children, and in harmony with the Tao. Okay. The generals have a saying, rather than make the first move, it is better to wait and see. Rather than advance an inch, it is better to retreat a yard. This is called going forward without advancing, pushing back without using weapons. There is no greater misfortune than understanding your enemy. Underestimating your enemy means thinking that he is evil. Thus, you destroy your three treasures and become an enemy yourself. With two great forces oppose each other, the victory will go to the one that knows how to yield.
All right, let's Brad stopped at 69. Hakima, you want to start with 70?
I just stopped at 70. Did you need me to go on?
Yeah, you went through 69, did you not?
Yeah, 69, you stopped at 70.
Okay, that's fine. Hakima, go ahead and give us the next 5.
My teachers are easy to understand and easy to put into practice. Your intellect will never grasp them. And if you try to practice them, you fail. My teachers are older than the world. How can you grasp their meaning? If you want to know me, look inside your heart. Not knowing is true knowledge. Presuming to know is disease. First realize that you are sick. Then you can move toward health. The master is her own physician. She has healed herself of all knowing. Thus, she is truly whole. When they lose their sense of awe, people turn to religion. When they no longer trust themselves, they begin to depend upon authority. The master step back. The people want you without what happens. The Tao is always at ease. It overcomes without competing, answers without speaking a word, arrives without being summoned, accomplishes without a plan. It never covers the whole universe, and though the meshes are wide, it doesn't let a thing slip through. If you realize that all things change, there's nothing you will try to hold on to. If you aren't afraid of dying, there's nothing you can achieve. Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are that you will cut yourself.
All right, very cool. Angel, can you pick up where he left off?
75, right?
Correct. Yeah, and why don't we do this, because we've got a few people on. Just read 3, then we'll go to be master. Just read 3 of them, and then we'll go to be master.
Just 3, okay. Okay, gotcha. When taxes are too high, people go hungry. When the government is too instructive, people lose their spirit. Act for the people's benefit. Trust them. Leave them alone. Men are born soft and supple. Dead, they are stiff and hard. Plants are born tender and quaint. Dead, they are brittle and dry. Thus, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. The hard and stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail. As it acts in the world, the Tao is like bending of a bow. As it acts in the world, the Tao is like the bending of a bow. The top is bent downward, the bottom is bent up. It adjusts excess and deficiency so that there is perfect balance. It takes from what is too much and gives to what isn't enough. those who try to control, who use force to protect their power, go against the direction of the power. They take from those who don't have enough and give to those who have far too much. The master can keep giving because there is no end to her wealth. She acts without expectation, succeeds without taking credit, and doesn't think that she is better than anyone else. Am I stopping there?
Yeah, that's good.
That's three?
Yeah.
Okay.
B-Master, you want to pick that up? B-Master, you with us?
Sure.
Perfect. Give us the...
Okay, hold on, I had to close it out. I gotta go back to it. Okay. To unmute myself. Nothing in the world. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet, for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart, because he has given up helping. He is people's greatest help. True words seem paradoxical. Failure is an opportunity. If you blame someone else, there is no end to the blame. Therefore, the master fulfills her own obligations and corrects her own mistakes. She does what she needs to do and demands nothing of others. If a country is governed wisely, its inhabitants will be content. Bullshit, I'm just kidding. They enjoy the labor of their hands and don't waste time inventing labor-saving machines. Ooh. Since they dearly love their homes, they aren't interested in travel. Ah. There may be a few wagons and boats, but these don't go anywhere. There may be an arsenal of weapons, but nobody ever uses them. People enjoy their food, take pleasure in being with their families, spend weekends working in their gardens, delight in the doings of the neighborhood. And even though the next country is so close that people can hear its roosters crowing and its dogs barking, they are content to die of old age without ever having gone to see it. You want me to, I think that's 3.
Do you know what number?
81.
Okay.
Are you reading next, Monica?
The word? Oh, I was.
Okay, sorry.
True words aren't eloquent. Eloquent words aren't true. Wise men don't need to prove their point. Men who need to prove their point aren't wise. The master has no possessions. The more he does for others, the happier he is. The more he gives to others, the wealthier he is. The Tao nourishes by not forcing, by not dominating. The master leads. Would you like me to read the notes?
Sure.
Okay, well, that's a lot of notes. I can do chapter 1.
I don't think you have to read the notes.
Okay.
Just go to the next
That's it?
chapter. Yeah.
No.
We're reading 3 each.
That's it. And now it's on the chapter now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're through those verses. So why don't we just take this opportunity? We got about 9 minutes before the next room starts, and let's just talk about what we read.
I think the Dow would be an anarchist, reparationist.
Yes.
And I also feel like it was written for today. Like it don't seem like it's written on the.
For a while ago, I agree with that sentiment. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment.
Wait, you think the Tao that inspired communist China is anarchist?
Yeah, that would sound. It sounded like it.
Phenomenal. John, what do you think? It sounded to me like it's not making a position. It's actually, the lesson is supposed to be that
you're wrong, you might be right. It's more of just letting go and just letting things be, which also means, you know, the idea of getting rid of government is just as wrong as creating a more powerful government. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very smart book, and so it's so universal that I'm not trying to offend you, Hakima, but I think people project onto it what they want to see, and the unfortunate reversal of your position, Hakima, or people who believe that it's an anarchist book or communistic book, it's a governance book. So whoever is rising to power or in power will utilize the wisdom to manage the situation. But some people will just come on social audio, complain about it, but they read it. So it's a very smart book. I would encourage you to read it a couple times and try to really ingest it, because what it does is it creates a large language model, and it's a lot of, you know, positions and words. It's what they call a book. But again, it's a very smart book. And one of the reasons why it's so smart is because so many people have read it. It's global. So if you could master this book and you could master the Bible, you are now a subject matter expert who can have intelligent conversations about these topics that hopefully edify and lift you up in, you know, power and health and wealth and love. So that's my opinion.
I was just gonna, you can go. I was just gonna say, I'm like in the middle of like my work day, so I'm like trying to rush through, you know, what you guys are reading. I'm looking, I'm listening, and I'm like, oh, maybe I might want to read this one.
No, I'm gonna say, John, no offense taken though, but I mean, I think most people gonna apply things personally to them. But you're definitely right. That book needs to be read a couple times to get it, because the book is saying a lot. It's not just saying I'm an anarchist. It's saying way more than that. You know what I'm saying? And not that definitely. It's not definitely saying that. But it's a good read.
Well, it definitely forces you to look in. Hold on, Angel. I'll say this really quick. It definitely forces you to look in and reflect. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. It's a very reflective read.
I love that the part that Dina wrote was exactly what her life looks like.
Right?
I thought that was so cool.
I missed the part about a bag of dicks.
Oh. I don't understand what.
It was a hot shot for me. It's okay. Yeah. Anything else, Monica? I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No, like it was delightful to hear your excitement when it talked about roosters. And you have a farm kind of like situation.
Wait, I think Angel wanted to speak too. Angel, go ahead, Angel. I had to cut you off. I'm sorry if you're there.
I was gonna say that I would like to do a combination of this book and the 48 Laws of Power. Kind of read them simultaneously. You know, if I could run through maybe a chapter each, I'd like to see how that goes.
Oh, sorry.
Just to comment on how short the book was. Go ahead, Beamer.
No, I just wanted to say, I'm trying to remember, I saw this thing where if you want to remember something, you make like little games to remember it, and I don't remember where, but the things that I took from it, I said to myself, remember this spicy, and it was SPC, and it's simplicity, patience, and compassion, right, to remember those things. And I thought, oh yeah, I really like that. Simplicity, I think it was simplicity, but it's S, simplicity, patience, and then compassion. And then I loved the part that I started on, because people always tell me this, well, specifically my love, every time I get upset and I say like, look, this is all effed, this is messed up, and he'll ask me in the moment of like despair and frustration, he says, what's the opportunity? And I love that mine started, it's just like, failure's an opportunity. You know, like look for the opportunity, because as soon as you're starting to blame somebody, then it's just going to be an endless blaming thing. And then the fact that you could be just so content in what you have and everybody just enjoys everything to like all of this. It's so beautiful. It felt like I felt that peace, and I just thought that was so cool. The other thing it was the spicy that I wanted to remember, and then there was something like the compassion, something in humility. I thought they were such great. Oh, the rigidness, to remember not to be rigid, because rigid is just, you're just going to break, right? But if you can be flexible and adaptable, that's what's like life-giving, and it speaks life. And that was inspiring for me. I'm just like, yeah, do you know what? That's a great, instead of being frustrated and being like, okay, no, I didn't get my way, but then it's like, wait a second, if you flow and you could just like have this flow with, I thought that was so cool. Yeah, so it was like this softness, so being gentle and pliable, being able to just flow. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other things I'm looking, but yeah. So great.
I see. Does somebody want to post the link above for the discussion group, the rational discussion group?
We cannot, we're not mods.
Oh, I can change that, darling.
I was gonna say. Maybe you took the words out of my mouth.
There you are.
Okay, I'll be back.
This is the first time that I've ever come into the space and you guys are reading.
We started it yesterday. It's a 2-day-old tradition.
Wonderful. I'm glad I'm not.
Can I ask, how do people feel, reading or listening to a wisdom book versus listening to road rage conversations? Like, what do you think might be better for your mental health or mental diet? It's just a question I'm asking.
I like a healthy mix of both. A little chaos, a little drama, a little intellect.
I actually like that right before it, we had the crash out room, and so then we read, and now we're going into the rational discussion group. I feel like we're giving people a little bit of each. They want all of these things. But as we learned yesterday, you can't eat your cake and have it too.
Well, one of the things that I've kind of taken an observation of this application is that people do have some valid grievance, right? And I think, unfortunately, there has yet to be a space that has been created that kind of gives way to solution-based opportunity. I just think that I loved whoever mentioned it earlier, like, most of the things that we're hearing about that are, problematic and chaotic and drama and whatever have you is stuff that is outdated. It's old stuff that people have somehow found a space within themselves to harbor, these feelings, these emotions, these whatevers, and yeah, that's why, before I was like, I wish that, hurt people would heal. And I think that there would be an opportunity for, some. Thank you very kindly. I think that there would be some opportunity.
All right, well, link is in the Jumbotron. We're transitioning over to the rational discourse room.
We'll have a conversation. But we've got until 2 p.m. Pacific time to start the chat. We just like to start this a little early because it gives people a head start. So people that might have been thinking about going into the room that doesn't have chat would be persuaded to come to our room. So let's bring people up.
Hey Brad, I really enjoyed your reading of that book. It's one of my favorite books. I thank you for reading it, and I think that when a lot of people heard you, reading from a book, everybody was, titillated. Let's just put it that way.
I actually read that I have a bunch of TV. I got a massive library with thousands of books. I'm actually a collector of books. So I'm not a big fan of this. A lot of the philosophical books that you enjoy. I'm not a big fan of this one because I think it has a lot of constructs that are not relevant to the world, and I think it just uses a lot of hyperbole to say, hey, we could just be better, but in reality it takes none of the constructs from everyday life and applies them.
Friends in the group.
I also think that it's done to read that most of the people, most of the people don't understand the interpretation. It's been revised in multiple languages, and just like the Bible, it has phrases and translations that are taken out of context or what others have applied, even in the book you have. I think Lewis highlights this most of the I might have the book title wrong, but I think it's the Green Book. In his review of the Tao, he highlights some of those more prominent narratives. John, so I mean, it is what it is, but I've never been a big philosopher fan, because usually those are people that are writing about a moral high ground, usually from a place of comfort, and usually from a life that is provided for them, and they don't really truly go out and experience the world. Similar to Marx, he was always cared for by somebody else. He lived off of a rich friend, and I don't take a lot of what they say seriously.
I just want to welcome people. We do have about 6 minutes before we officially kick this stuff off, but we got an interesting topic. We got a poll up top if people want to respond to it. Topic of the room: should Ukraine give up land to Russia? The choices are not one single inch, if it saves lives, sure, or it belongs to Russia. If you've got other thoughts on that, you could put those in the chat. If you want to talk about this topic, go ahead and raise your hand. We're gonna just kind of keep some small talk going until it's time to get going. Once we hit 2 o'clock, I'll let my friend Anson here just kind of get us started with his initial thoughts on what he thinks about the topic. But let's just have a little bit of small talk, and I'll let you guys know at 2 o'clock, and Anson will get us kicked off.
Just to clarify for me, Roger, that tax thing is off the table for today, or did I get the date wrong?
It was supposed to be today, but Alan didn't message me, so I don't know exactly what happened with that. It might have happened while we were crashing out in the other room, so we may have missed it.
Okay.
Because Alan had popped into that other room, and then he disappeared, so we may have missed it. Oh, we got Abby here. Hopefully she comes up. That would be great.
I'd like to give a little bit of a reminder for hydration. Drink your water.
Or Diet Coke.
Whatever liquid makes you happy.
Abby, you missed some fun rooms earlier. We had a good mix of crashing out and reconciliation. I think some progress was made in that other room. I don't know if you guys agree.
Who were the actors?
Brad was probably the star of the show today. I'm gonna have to say, Brad, were you the star of the show today?
I suppose.
Yeah, Brad was in Brad form. Let's just put it that way. He was Brading out.
I'm saluting you, Brad, from here.
Okay, we got a few minutes. We're going to let some people pile in. I'm going to send out some invites so we can get the room populated. Abby, you've been missing our reading rooms. We've been reading out loud to each other, and we got through a book over the last couple days. We're going to start doing this every single day, but I think you would be a welcome addition there. Be nice
Are
to
you reading like Lady Chatterley's Lover, or like what are we reading?
John, would you like to share?
Is John here?
Yeah, we read Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, ancient Chinese philosophy book about the Tao. It's about governance, philosophy, wisdom, mystical approach to dealing with complexities. Some critique was that it's the inspiration for the communist revolution and that it's actually an anarchical book. But I do think in Saul Dialinsky's book, he also references it in Rules for Radicals. So I think it's an important, document to study because it's useful in terms of either knowing the enemy or knowing yourself. So that's the book we completed today. It took us 2 days to read it.
That sounds fantastic. I mean, it sounds like it's knowing your enemy, the art of war.
That'll be our next book, by the way, Abby.
Yeah, the Rules for Radical, that's an excellent choice.
No, the next book's going to be The Art of War.
I'm gonna add a book to the possible list. Since there's so many people, like we used to have them, I don't know if they exist on here, but there's so many people that espouse these grand ideas about anarchy,
socialism. Why not throw Joseph Stalin's book up there? Leninism. Why not throw his daughter's a review of Stalin up there? This will give insight to a lot of how some of those virtue signaling policies lead to the outcome under Stalin.
Yeah, I think Art of the Deal would be another fun one here, just because of the divisiveness around the author. I want to turn this over to Anson. Anson, the topic of the room, should Ukraine give up land to Russia? Why don't you go kick us off with some initial thoughts? And I like the framing that you do of these conversations, so if you want to do that, that'd be great.
Well, I'm not going to, I don't want to.
Oh, you muted yourself.
There's a very expensive clock.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, yes.
Okay.
Uh-oh, I think you're doing the glitch where it mutes you. Because you started speaking and then you muted yourself. All right. Well, okay. Are you back? You may have to leave and come back, Anson. You may have to leave and come back to correct that. There we go. We'll get him back here, and then typically when we do these rooms, Anson just likes to get everybody to agree, is there a problem? And then we kind of go from there with opinions. Anson, go ahead. You're still muted, buddy. All right, I guess we'll get started without him. And when he comes back, we'll welcome him to jump back in. The question for the room, should Ukraine give up land to Russia?
Can you unmute yourself and try talking? And again. There you go, I think you're back. Or maybe not. Alright, I'm just going to get us started, and then Anson, you'll have to figure out your technical challenges. We'll definitely welcome you once you do. So, should Ukraine give up land to Russia? I think we have to ask ourselves, what is at stake? On one hand, you have a tyrannical leader who is invaded his neighboring country, who's trying to invade a sovereign nation in Europe, and then on the other hand, you have the reality
that in order for Ukraine to continue this fight, they're going to have to be highly subsidized by the United States, European allies, in order to continue to wage this war. Now, the people in Ukraine may want to fight, but in order to do so, in order to have a chance, they do need the right weapons in order to sustain the fight. So this brings in lots of questions. I think that it's righteous to fight against these tyrannical Russian bullies. There might be a practical piece, though, where lives could be saved. And so I think the conversation today is really to figure out what precedent does it set if an invading force could then get land and get the nation that was attacked to surrender land. Is that a wise thing to do? Those are my questions. And Anson, let's see if you're back and see if you got a microphone.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank God.
Okay. I'm not going to vote yet. I want to hear what the room has to say. You're right. There's the old altruistic. No way are we going to let Russia get away with it if we're going to fight until we drive them back to their original borders before 2014, including Crimea. But I don't see how that is possible in any way, shape, or form other than NATO entering the war, full-scale, conventional war, to assist Ukraine to drive Russia back to the pre-2014 boundaries. So, I don't see any conceivable way, other than the collapse of Russia, that we strangle them for so long with sanctions and all the other things. But how long is that going to take? Years, in my opinion, particularly as long as they have the support from China, Iran to a degree, etc. I don't see Russia throwing in the towel anytime in the coming several years. If we want peace, Ukraine's going to have to give up land. But if you want to stand on principle, then keep fighting, and God help Ukraine. Because I don't see a way to bring it to a conclusion other than on the battlefield. Did everybody hear what I said?
I think they did. Yeah, let's go ahead and get some thoughts. I'd love to hear. Brad, what do you think of what Anson laid out?
I think he articulated the problem very well. You've got two choices right now. We're aware that Zelensky has gone through, about 92% of his resources and capabilities that he has been offered. No other nation seems to really want to reinforce the lines that Ukraine has tried to do. Their military tactics are subpar at best. It seems that Russia was doing a different time of campaign, and Zelensky bit into it instead of actually, utilizing, various other operations to expel Russia out of their territory. They've also faced some constraints from European nations as well as the U.S., particularly under Biden, about some of the tactics they wanted to take. And despite some of the tactics that they did take, it still has not relented with Russia. Zelensky now is in forced conscripts. He's waived a lot of, quote, Ukraine constitutional, end quote, powers. He's removed those from the country at large. You have ongoing protests, which the citizenry does not seem to be happy with a lot of his decisions. We have questions about where the aid is going. Right now, I would, due to the Ukraine's ability, you've lost. I don't know how to put it simply, unless the U.S., NATO, European nations are willing I don't see where Ukraine comes out on top. My one thing would be, how much are you going to lose by currently? And you're right now this territory is significant. They're sitting over a lot of reserves. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of opportunity for Ukrainians. However, you just do not have the capabilities to resist them. And your problem was is believing that the U.S. was going to be there at your defense should this happen. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry that you fell for it, but the U.S. is not going to put boots on the ground to go fight this war against Russia. They're not prepared for it. We're not capable of really taking on that conflict right now. We're tired, we're sore, we're angry, and we have too many domestic issues that we really want to focus on rather than having our young men and women engaged in a war with the likes of Russia for the next 20 years. So, honestly, right now, to save what they have left as a civilization, I would sue for peace. I would relent to the terms and go back. You just don't have the military means to win this.
So does that mean that anybody that wants to invade someone else, as long as they have the might to do so, that they ought to?
No, I don't think it's on a moral front. This is the problem with wars. Everybody tries to apply a moral stance. It's your country, it's your nation, it's your house, it's your territory. If you can hold it, if you can maintain it, it's your house as long as you can pay the mortgage and the taxes. The minute you can't, someone else takes it from you. So this is the way the world has always been. And the realistic point is, unfortunately, for Ukraine, they are caught in a very bad spot. And I don't think it's right of Russia, but at the onset, the U.S. shouldn't have held up weapon systems if they were so worried about it for 6 months. That occurred under Biden's administration. He held back weapons. He held back supplies. He held back things. Europe held back things. They couldn't get on board and decide what they wanted to do. They wanted to play games. And so now you have a horrible deal that's going to be presented to the Ukrainians, and they're going to lose. And if they stay in the fight, I mean, it's a war of attrition. Russia's just bigger. Ukraine does not have the capabilities to go much longer. I would say maybe a couple of years. They could probably put up an IRA type style resistance when Russia takes over the territory. But I mean, in the end, the results are going to be the same. Russia's going to come out on top of this. And that's a shame because the U.S. fucked up. We did another Vietnam, except we put it in Ukraine.
Hey moderators, this is John. If I'm ready to go, if you can put me in the queue.
Yeah, please do. Jump in.
So I use X. My account is in my profile. It's John Kitover IL for Illinois. These are the queries I asked Grok on X Spaces. Hey Grok, tell me the Ukrainian and Russian war casualties with top 10 incidents or battles. Should Ukraine give Russia land for a lasting peace deal? Is Zelensky or Putin an honest, good faith actor? The latest estimates, June of 2025, Russia had 250,000 killed, 950,000 total casualties. Ukraine military had 100,000 killed, 400,000 total in the war so far. Civilians, 13,000 killed and 33,000 injured. The top battles are Bakhmut, Mariupol, Sverdlovsk, Lysychansk, Advitka, Soledar, Kiev, Kharkiv, Volodar, Khasiv Yar. Ukraine shouldn't concede territory. It rewards aggression, and Putin won't honor deals. Putin acts in bad faith historically. Zelensky is more transparent but pragmatic. Then I asked, hey Grok, tell me the contrarian position of why Zelensky should step down as president and give up land to Ukraine for a lasting peace. This is what Grok says. This is the contrarian view. Zelensky prolongs war by rejecting realpolitik. Russia won't retreat, so conceding occupied Donbass Crimea, ethnically Russian per polls, saves lives and the economy. His expired term erodes legitimacy. Resignation enables pragmatic successor for honored peace deal, backed by Rubio's Sachs analysis. So that's what AI says.
Here's the best outcome that could happen. We know Putin's not long-lived, John. My best guess is, and I don't know who's going to win in the wings under Putin. It could be I can't say his name, but it could be the fanatical guy that's even worse than Putin. Or it could be an overwhelming sense of the Russian people say, hey, no, this is not going to happen. Or maybe there's some shit. But in reality, accept the terms now and then wait till Putin's dead and then seek pressure to basically get those territories back under Ukraine. That's the best avenue that I see for Ukraine currently. And I don't know if Captain agrees with that.
I'm still waiting to hear somebody to suggest that the moral route is the only route possible, and therefore the war must continue, but with more money, more weapons, more whatever other than boots on the ground from NATO, which would include the United States. Can anybody make a rational argument that that will work, and how long will the war last if they make that rational argument? I don't think, as long as Putin's in power, that he is going to give up the land that Russia currently occupies. He may give up a line here or a line there, but certainly he's not going to give up Crimea. He's not going to give up Sevastopol, all of those things. And if we just wait out Putin's death, or conceivably, maybe, very unlikely, but conceivably his overthrow by the Russian people, unless somebody has a crystal ball that says that's going to happen in the rest of my lifetime. Again, you've got the moral dilemma, you've got the moral construct to keep fighting. We are in the right, therefore we're going to wait for the equivalent of Washington crossing the Delaware and Valley Forge, or on the other hand, the practicality of it all. And don't forget that if this war continues, how assured are we that the stalemate will hold? And if the stalemate doesn't hold, and by stalemate I mean basically the current boundaries of the battle lines of the war, where Russia is gaining, yards, not miles, to a degree. But if that stalemate breaks down, Russia might go all the way to the Dnieper River. Hell, they might go all the way into Kiev. So if we keep fighting, you've got to hold out the possibility that the stalemate will break down in favor of Russia. And what are you going to do then? Which would be a hell of a lot worse than what the current situation is. So again, this is morality versus practicality, and I sure want to hear somebody provide a rational argument that we can hold our moral ground, and here is the path forward to win the war on the battlefield. Can anybody come up with a construct where that is a rational possibility?
Well, I don't think I would want to make that argument. What I would suggest, though, is that if it's the NATO position or the U.S. position that since Putin has acted so belligerently, that we take advantage of the opportunity to weaken them, it will never get less expensive to kill Russian soldiers than it is right now. And that expense in terms of American blood and in terms of American dollars. If the goal of the West is to weaken Russia, specifically their military might, this is the cheapest that we'll ever be able to do it. And I know that doesn't provide a response that you were looking for, but I think it's something to consider. Is that if we might be looking at this as a gift, and the longer it goes on, sure, it's expensive,
but it's less expensive than any direct conflict with them. And Russia will never be the same after this conflict. I mean, make no mistake, between their birth rate and their immigration policies, they didn't have the luxury to lose soldiers. They are in trouble. They have a demographic problem, and this only makes their demographic problem worse. And so, again, depending on what our goal is, we might be achieving it.
Hey, I agree with what you said, Roger. Like, I voted they should give up land, but I don't, only reason I voted that way because I don't think Trump will give them the support that they need or they deserve. But I feel like the U.S. basically baited them into the situation. Not necessarily Trump, but the U.S. in general. So I think the U.S. should give them what they need to finish it out. Because people are saying like Ukraine is small and things like that, but Russia is not. This is no picnic for Russia. They're losing shit tons of soldiers. Their economy is not doing great. So they not in no great position themselves. So, but I don't think Trump, for the reason that they're not in a great position, I think that's why Trump is not going to help Ukraine. I believe that he supports Russia.
Wait, did I just hear you say give them what they want? Is that what you said? If you don't remember, no, if you don't remember, that's fine. I know, I wasn't confused. I heard it said, I said. Okay, that's okay.
So, can I disagree with you, Captain? Sir, I have some issues with Putin saying, like, the idea that he's going to march into Kiev. I'm confused from the start of the battle plan. Like, he employed Hannibal's old tactics of, like, the try, whatever you call it, going around each side. But unfortunately, he never carpet bombed anything, and we're aware that they could have done it. He didn't destroy water supplies. He didn't destroy necessarily oil reserves. He didn't really interfere with electrical areas, and he left the western corridors open in Ukraine. This has always been puzzling to me because it just seems like a ploy to have Ukraine just kind of sue for peace quickly, but it may have been just part of Putin's grand plan, knowing that the U.S. was going to provide aid, Europe was going to provide some financial assistance, and that this was going to be a war of attrition. Because when he actually set his lines, he parked them very distinctly and very permanently right now over those heavily rich reserve areas and his port areas that he wanted access to the seas. This has always bothered me in war because the first thing you would do would be to cut off supplies. You would try to cut off lifelines, so you would prevent the funneling of supplies coming in, and Putin never did that. I don't know if it's a lack of their capabilities, but even basic military education would tell you to take that off. I don't think Putin really wants all of Ukraine, in all fairness. I think what he wants is just the section that's going to be rich, and he does not want the U.S. to be or any Western alliance to be in control over those areas, and he doesn't want the access to the sea ports, the deep water ports, to be hindered by anybody, particularly Ukraine, who's vying to join alliances with Europe and the U.S., make broader trade agreements. And the only reason I say this is like when Kazakhstan, when the U.S. started to make inroads there for trade agreements, Russia came in, and even with China trying to go toe-to-toe with the U.S. for agreements, Russia came in and squashed all of that. And so that nation lost the opportunities to trade with the U.S., Western alliances, and Eastern ones. So I think it's more about economics and the potential for the money for Russia. And I think that's what Putin's really, truly focused on. I said this at the start of the war, and it so far has played out how I thought it would go, but it's always been mind-numbing to me that for the people that believe he would march all the way there to Kiev, like if that was the case, he could have easily taken Kiev. He didn't have to Russia that keeps guys, forever 150 years old. I mean, he is getting older. He is going to be prone to infirmities that affect old age. He's going to be prone to sicknesses. At some point, the man is going to die and have to relinquish power. I doubt he makes it to 2030, but we can see. I mean, he could be 80 years old. It's not unheard of, but I just don't see him retaining power that long.
I don't think he wants a legacy. He wants a baby dynasty. Hopefully he goes through that.
So, how did you vote, Brad? Are you saying don't give an inch and continue the war with the expectation that we can wear Russia down and drive them back to pre-2014 boundaries? Is that what you're suggesting is the best route to go?
No, I'm saying that they should accept the agreement on the table and try to rebuild. Zelensky has not fortified his infrastructure to a military footprint that is needed to win this war. He just has not.
Okay, I tend to agree with that. But the poll doesn't allow me to do it because let's say that the war stops and the current battle lines are an armistice line, and both sides agree that they're not going to try to advance across the current lines. But a peace treaty will not be signed by Ukraine until Russia cedes all the land that Ukraine claims. In other words, do we go now for a Korean War situation? And if so, who is going to man those battle lines or be held in reserve with massive power to prevent a resurgence by Russia a year, 2 years, 5 years from now to restart the war? In other words, is it going to be American troops sitting somewhere encamped along the Dnieper River or somewhere in western Ukraine? Or is it going to be NATO troops? In other words, is a Korean War situation something that we should hope to achieve now in order to stop the war and stop the killing, but not signing a peace treaty that would legally de jure? In other words, Russia gets the current land de facto, but they're not allowed to get it de jure in accordance with a peace treaty that Ukraine would sign with Russia. And would Putin even agree to such an armistice without a de jure secession of some land on the part of Ukraine? Again, it's a tough nut to crack.
I mean, I'm not saying Zelensky should just give away the driveway and the garage and without receiving anything in return. I think Zelensky could ask for a NATO base directly in Ukraine. It could be one of his precursors. Whether or not the powers that be will agree to that seems to be more on the table. And if I was Zelensky, I would be asking for that. I would say, hey, this is what my nation needs. Here's what we need as people. I need trade agreements for grain, production and manufacturing. Here, I want these also on the table with this, and then I want the assurances in a treaty stating that if Russia breaks these lines, then you are going to definitely put boots on the ground. I'm not saying we should put boots on the ground, but this would be me as Zelensky saying, hey, I want NATO here, and in case they break that, I want you to go toe-to-toe with us to repel Russia. And if they violate this peace treaty, we're going all the way. We are not holding back. We're not holding just into our territory. We will attack all the way to Moscow. And I would put that clearly on the table and say, here, this is the agreement we'll reach to. I would put the NATO nations in a corner. That's just me playing Zelensky.
That's you playing Zelensky, but I don't stop shooting at each other if the prospect is going to be a de facto NATO presence in Ukraine, much less a Ukraine membership in NATO. Putin would just keep on fighting. Russia would just keep on fighting if that was proposed by, say, Trump or the United States or even NATO on Friday. Do you agree with that?
I agree that Putin wouldn't take it, but then we're forgetting about one big thing with the Russian people because they're not immune to this. Would be the optic war. That all of a sudden there's a chance for peace. Would Putin start to receive pushback from his own people, particularly the military, at the numbers he's losing, the number that are wounded, and the numbers that are returning? Would he end up being forced to accept something along these lines? Because, again, the Russian people also want peace. They're tired of the war, too. So, I mean, it would be like boxing Putin into a corner. And Zelensky could come out looking like a hero. Putin can come out looking like a hero temporarily. And the U.S. and NATO looks like they fulfilled their obligations at some point. So, I mean, if I was Zelensky, I'd be playing hardball. I would put everybody in a corner, and I would put them all in a box and say, here, this is what we're going to agree to. Because right now, he has nothing to lose. It's either the war keeps fighting, he loses more territory, or, you know, he accepts terms of a peace agreement, and Putin's he's gotta obey at least somewhat the will of his own people.
Well, this has devolved into Anson and Brad, two military guys, discussion back and forth. And
let's throw one more in there then. How you guys doing? Ironically, Anson, I have a personal question. You wouldn't happen to be a descendant of Anson Burlingame, the minister to China under Lincoln, would you? If so, that would be pretty awesome. I think that I've listened to the conversation.
I have a picture that was taken last fall in Faneuil Hall in Boston, and it shows a big picture of that Anson Burlingame that was during the Lincoln administration of the Civil War, and me at age 82 in front of that.
I might have missed it. So are you a descendant of his?
Yes, I am. Not he branched off, so he and I were great cousins or something like that.
All right, that's pretty interesting. To this point of the conversation, I think that a lot of people forget something, right? And that's that Putin is an old KGB guy, right? And he mainly controls government and all kinds of other levers in the country of Russia. And what I mean by that is that it is an object of war for him. If he could come out of this looking like or phrasing the argument in front of his people that, hey, I won, or I got something, or I bested them, I think he's willing to do whatever. I think both men, Putin and Zelensky, they are leaders, right? They're willing to lose people. They're willing to send men to die. And they will sleep like babies about it. I think that who has the capacity to withstand longer is a good question. Ukraine has obviously got some backers, right? It's almost a proxy war with us and things like that. But Ukraine should hold out as long as they possibly can. Any nation should. But there's precedent for this, right? Crimea. They held out for as long as they could, and they still were annexed by Russia. And so maybe it might be time to cut a deal, right? So Putin's not, I still believe he still plays 3D, 4D level chess. He always has, and I think he always will. But sometimes even when the facts are not on his side, if he could turn the optics on his side, I think he'd be willing to cut a deal to get on up out of there. But, we'll see.
So I changed my vote, right? Initially, so the question is, should Ukraine give up land to Russia? Initially, I said if it saves lives, sure. But after listening to Anson and Brad speak, and then while they were talking, I read on PBS that according to a May 2025 poll, 55% of Ukrainians oppose ceding land, right? So I'm wondering what role does public sentiment kind of play, or should public sentiment play in Zelensky's decisions regarding this? Because considering how many lives have been lost, um, the public might perceive, giving up the land and ceding territory as a form of betraying the sacrifices of the civilians and the soldiers, people who have lost their lives. So I'm wondering if, public sentiment should be considered here in his decisions. Um, and how much influence should foreign powers have in Ukraine's decision? That's a question that I have for all the politically savvy minds on the stage.
Well, what do you suggest and why? What do you suggest foreign powers, which specifically, I think you mean the United States and let's don't even differentiate between NATO and the United States. Let's just say NATO, because right now I think Trump and NATO are singing from the same sheet of music. So for simplicity's sake, let's just say, what more can NATO do to allow the war to continue with a rational goal that is different from the current status quo and more in favor of Ukraine? I don't know what else NATO can do other than intervene militarily. I just don't see this thing ending until it's decided on the battlefield, not by public opinion or by Henry Kissinger or any other of the international greats in negotiating peace. I don't know. I just don't see a way forward that is going to keep Russia in a Russian box the way NATO and public opinion certainly wants it to be, and that Russian box goes all the way back to pre-2014 boundaries. I'm still waiting for. I wish there was somebody in here that was super woke, hates Trump, and says here is the clear. But no, Trump's an idiot. He should just bow out and do nothing. And here is the path forward in order for Ukraine to stand tall and Russia not gain any land. I want to hear somebody tell me how that could possibly happen. And I don't see anybody on the stage or in the audience that seems ready to rise to that challenge. And I wish I could figure it out for myself as well, but I just can't.
The argument for that answer might be, right, if the United States stops helping Ukraine, let them win or lose on their own, right? And see what happens.
We did, well, in other words, can you imagine if Trump comes back from this Friday, he comes back from that conference with Putin and says, that's it, we're out of it, we're going to stop providing anything or any military support for Ukraine, and we're going to let the decision stay on the battlefield. My God, this country would erupt if that happened.
I don't think so. I don't think we care. I know it's people tend to think we're in a war, and United States is not in a war. I've been in a few. We ain't in a war, right? We are aiding a country, and knowing Donald, it's enough to keep in mind politically. I generally do not disclose my beliefs. I'm truly mainly in the middle, independent. But knowing Donald, he could. He's not. He's a little cantankerous. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't take much for him to say, you know what, fuck this. I'm not having nothing to do with this shit no more. And seriously, at least threaten to say to pull out. That's totally within the realm of possibility. And the average American doesn't care. People have opinions. We have in these social media rooms, but people don't. It's not as important to the American people because it doesn't affect us. It's not as important to us as it is to them.
That's a good point. And I kind of agree with that on some level. I don't think your average American, and it's not that we don't care about the lives lost, But I think many of us understand politically how this political game works and how wars are profitable for many leaders. No doubt, likely profitable for our government. And because this war doesn't seemingly directly impact your average American, I'm with Rob on this. I wonder how much the average American actually cares about this war.
Hold on, let me just jump in real quick. I don't think it's whether they care or not. It's the fact that we're divided in people. There seems to be thirds. There's that third that is going to support Trump no matter what he does. There's the third that really doesn't care and fits into that category. But then there's also a third that no matter what Trump does, they're going to criticize every move he makes. And I think anything he does, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. If they can weaponize something against Trump, I think they will. And so I think you do have to be careful the decisions he makes because you've got enemies that are committed to trying to take him down, right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, you got to remember, they tried to keep him off the ballot, they tried to throw him in jail, and they tried to kill him. You think they're not going to criticize his decisions on war and peace?
Well, I won't jump into that convo, Mojo, and it's your room, but just speaking of your thirds, I think, to that point, I think Anson has great, respectfully, obviously, I don't think that the people care. I think that it's something to talk about, but people are not going to take to the streets about Ukraine. People in political circles will get on TV and social media and etc. They'll have the interested regular people will have something to talk about, but it's a nothing burger. Now, what will turn people out in the streets? Israel and Gaza. That can literally not tear the country apart, but it can definitely have an effect. Seriously. But the Ukraine and Russia, it's not that big of a deal to Americans like that. For real.
So I just wanted to jump in here. You brought up a poll that you read, and I'm assuming it's the Gallup poll from August. That's generally the one that I hear people cite often. I would be careful about the sentiment because, again, the desertion rates that, like any reporting out of Ukraine, you have to take with a grain of salt. It's like believing China's economic numbers when they cite things. It's just like, okay. I would say that a lot of those polls seem to be targeted, even those that are on the other side want a piece. But I do hear from more and more representatives, particularly in the UN, who are bringing this up, that they are citing and saying we need a quicker resolution to the end of the war. And I think Ukrainian sentiment right now, with the way that you have the AWOL rates going on in Ukraine, you have people fleeing the battlefield, there's not this overwhelming narrative to rush out there and defend the homeland. And I think that's, like, if I look at those numbers and I look at some of that reporting, and then I take into account, like, what we have in the U.S. or Europe and saying, oh, there's high support for Ukraine. No, I don't think the people there they're just sick and tired of it. They don't want to be bombed anymore. They don't want to see their relatives come back. That there isn't this world push that Ukraine, that I think many people tried to get for that. And I just, the way the numbers are, the number of people that are citing refugee status, the numbers that are fleeing into Europe, that's actually causing consternation in those areas, I think is now more prevalent that more than half the country is now at a point where they just want it all to stop. They don't care what the outcome is at this point. They just want it to stop.
Marshall, do you have anything you want to say, or can you bring anything over from what the sentiments might be over in the critical thinking forum? I mean, we're kind of stuck here between the practical side and the moral side. You got anything to add to this conversation? Marshall?
Sorry, Anson, I didn't hear you. Say again.
Do you have anything? We're kind of stuck between the moral imperative of don't give them an inch and drive Russia back to the pre-2014 boundaries, and the practical side that there's no way in hell to do that unless NATO puts massive boots on the ground and we essentially go to war with Russia. just stuck on the moral ground, and we're going to continue to fight until hell freezes over and Russia gives up.
They're stuck on the moral piece. There was a commenter from Scotland, a guy named Paul, who made the point that most of the time countries in history take land through conquest, and the person with the bigger stick ends up governing. I'm very much in your camp when it comes to Ukraine, which is we're no longer Ronald Reagan's military. We have to pick and choose where we put our resources. China's a much bigger threat overall than Russia is. Russia's still a near-peer competitor as defense estimates rank it. But I think we need to focus on our main peer competitor, not the second tier competitor. While I think supplying these folks with weapons through the Europeans is probably a decent idea, we're not going to go to war. There's not an appetite for that in the United States. And so we're essentially stuck between having a long, drawn-out meat grinder like Korea and just letting it all go. I think the meat grinder probably, takes more Russian lives in the invasion. But that's what happens with meat grinders. They take lives on each side. So for me, sitting in the middle of this, my overall conclusion is, look, if we can, help supply the Europeans with weapons and the Europeans give those to the Ukrainians, that's absolutely fine with me. But if people want the United States to step in so we can roll things back to pre-2014, that's not a place for the United States to get involved. And in fact, that's just what China would be hoping. That we would tie ourselves down and get another quagmire and not be able to focus on our near-peer competitor. And so I think we have to keep, in terms of U.S. grand strategy and national interest, I think we have to keep our eyes on the ball. And eyes on the ball means dealing with China more than it means dealing with Russia.
But you don't think that giving